What are some of the reasons why do we procure in projects? Why procurement? Or why to procure? Now, this procurement is not day-to-day procurement that you do in operational activities. This is procurement in the context of project, right? So why do we procure, guys? Why to procure? Can you give me some reasons why to procure? Why do we procure? Yes, guys, tell me, why do we procure?
Mitigate the risks.
Mitigate risks. Why mitigate? So what are the risks?
So I mean, if we depend on like things on the runtime, there may be risks of not getting the things.
Can I say skills? One of the reason why we procure is skills unavailable internally, or lack of skills. Can I say lack of skills, lack of availability? You know, a timeline can be a constraint.
Yes.
Time can be a constraint. Be a constraint. Then sometimes cost of doing it. Cost of doing it externally is cheaper. Cost of procuring is cheaper than cost of doing it yourself, right? Can it also be a reason? Cheaper, right? Yes or no?
Yes, Pankaj.
Now, and sometimes, you know, there is a readily available commercial off-the-shelf component or a product available, right, which is proven and successful. So instead of developing something, you know, if you take that product and implement it, right, it mitigates your risk also, right? So these are some of the reasons why do we procure now. See, when we talk about procurement, first thing is we should know why should we procure. The second thing is how much you procure. See, when customer initiates a project, there is a work breakdown structure, right? And in work breakdown structure, there are multiple work packages, right? So you have to decide what is the scope of your procurement, how much you want to procure, which work packages you want to outsource, which you want to do it internally, or you want to outsource the entire work breakdown structure. So why to procure, right? What to procure, right? What else is important as you start planning your procurement? As you start thinking your procurement, what else is important? I think okay. Kelja is waiting, so. So what else? Why to procure, what to procure, and will you also think about the source selection criteria? On what basis I am going to select my vendor? Is it important or not? On what basis am I going to select my vendor? Is it important or not?
Yes.
Right? This is also important. On what basis am I going to select my vendor? Is it based on the size of the vendor, the past history of the vendor, right? The cost of the vendor, or there can be a, you know, you can have combination, right? You can, based on the various attributes, you can come out with a score and select the preferred vendor. So should source selection criteria be very, very clear to you or not? Before you initiate, before you execute the procurement, should it be clear, guys, or not?
Yes, Pankaj.
Right? And then the next step is, what kind of contract should I have with a vendor? See, there can be a variety of contracts. A contract can be a time and material contract. A contract can be a fixed price contract. right? A contract can be a cost-reimbursable contract, right? And within these, there can be multiple variants, and a contract can also be a hybrid contract, right? So what kind of contract should I have with the vendor? Now, all these activities are done in procurement planning. Now, after procurement planning is done, the next step is we are going to conduct, right, procurement. Now, in the procurement process, all the vendors who have been given requests for proposals, they will be submitting their proposals, they will be clarifying their queries, and they will be submitting their proposals, and one of the vendor will be selected and the contract will be formed, right? After the contract or agreement is ready, which happens in conduct procurement, the next step is, right, see, on regular basis, you are going to administer or control, manage and control procurement, right? Now, I'll go through each and every process in detail, including the contract. But first, let's focus on, how do we plan procurement? Let's talk about procurement planning activities first, right? Now, see, these tables are not that relevant, but I have retained these tables for certain processes just to make you understand. Now, as per the current content of the PMP, as per the recommendation of PMI, you don't need to remember any of these slides, but still I have retained some of them in the slide just to make you understand, right? Now, we discussed about procurement planning. Now, in procurement planning, what all you will do? You will decide how, whether you should procure or not, or if procure, how much you should procure, right? Then you should come out with the source selection criteria, right? Once you have come out with the source selection criteria, you will come out with a kind of contract you're going to have with the vendor, right? These are some few things which are analyzed in planned procurement process. And there are some important documents that you create. There are some important documents that you prepare, right, in procurement planning. Now, first document is the procurement management plan. Now, what is this procurement management plan, guys? This is timetable of procurement or plan of acquisition of the supplier. Now, when I say timetable or plan of acquisition of supplier, right, does it mean that, this procurement management plan should be aligned to the overall project plan of a customer who will initiate the project? Tell me, guys, should it be aligned to the overall project plan of the customer or not? See, if a customer is initiating a project, right? Like, a customer can be Johnson & Johnson, it can be Boeing, it can be Hindustan Lever, it can be Procter & Gamble. When a customer is initiating a project, tell me, will the procurement happen together? Will all the vendors will come together, or they will come at different point of time? Tell me, guys, will they come together or at different point of time? My question to all of you. If this is the timeline of the project initiated by the customer, right? Customer like Boeing has initiated a project. This is the timeline, right? Will suppose, one of the component is outsourced to HCL, right? So HCL comes here, right? Another component may be given to, let's say, Accenture. Now, Accenture might come here, right? Suppose another component is given to PricewaterhouseCoopers, they might come here. Will it happen or not? Tell me, guys. Divya, will it happen?
Yes, Pankaj.
Charu, will it happen? And they all will have plan. See, they will have. See, I'm showing it as a component with respect to the customer, who can be Hindustan Lever or Boeing or Procter & Gamble, but they are individually, they're supplier projects, right? And they will all have different plans. But overall, there is a schedule of procurement which is aligned to the overall project plan of the customer, right? So this is a procurement management plan. Now, guys, are you okay with what is procurement management plan?
Yes, Pankaj.
Right? Okay. Now, apart from procurement management plan, can you see procurement management strategy also here?
Yes, Pankaj.
Now, what is a strategy? See, strategy is your approach, right? Approach means what kind of contract. Are you going to have a fixed price contract? Are you going to have a time and material contract or an agile contract, right? Or a cost reimbursable contract with a with the supplier. So this overall strategy is defined in procurement strategy. Now, in some situations, it depends on you how you want to take it. In some cases, you can combine procurement management, procurement strategy, and procurement management plan together also, right? But strategy is more like an approach, whereas plan is more like a timetable or a plan of acquisition. Now, the most important output of plan procurement is the most important process is coming out with the bid documents. Can you see bid documents here, guys?
Yes, Pankaj.
Now, what are bid documents? I think all of you have seen bid documents. What are bid documents, guys? You know what is request for quote? RFQ. You know what is RFQ, guys? When a customer asks you to do work, do they send
Request for quotation.
right? Request for quote. Request for quote.
Request for
Then
proposal
there is the request for proposal is also there, right? RFP, request for proposal. We can have request for information also, right?
RFP.
Right. So in the plan procurement, these documents will be sent to the shortlisted, right, suppliers, or sometimes there can be an open tender also. Right. Now, these are the key documents that you are going to send, right, in procurement planning. Now, one of the very, very important component of procurement management strategy, right, is the type of contract that we are going to study now, right? Now, before we start talking about type of contracts that you can have, one question to you. See, can you tell me, what is the difference between request for quote and request for proposal? How request for proposal is different from request for quote? Can somebody tell me?
I think a request for quote is when the company who's awarding the project is clear about the requirement and they just want the vendor company to give a quotation for those things that needs to be happen.
See, if somebody has requested for quote, you have to only submit the price. Generally, if the magnitude of work is low, right?
So
If the
Pankaj,
magnitude of work is
quote
is only
from
price.
no,
See,
that is okay. A quote is from company side, not from the vendor side, right?
Nothing will be from the vendor side. देखो vendor side से कुछ initiate ही नहीं होता है, सब customer से होता है.
Okay.
और अभी हम procurement कर रहे हैं तो हम बात कर रहे हैं Procter and Gamble की, right? Price what हम बात कर रहे हैं Procter and Gamble की, Boeing की, हिंदुस्तान यूनिलीवर की, right? Novartis की, AstraZeneca की. हम कंसल्टिंग कंपनीज को बाद में लाएंगे, right? देखो प्रोजेक्ट किसका है, ये प्रोजेक्ट HCL का है या AstraZeneca का इतना बड़ा जो है? Tell me guys, does this project belongs to, जो हमने बात की है, ये HCL का प्रोजेक्ट है या AstraZeneca का है?
AstraZeneca और Boeing और
उन सब का प्रोजेक्ट है. ये प्लेयर जो HCL है या Accenture है या PwC, तो बीच के यहाँ पे आने वाले लोग हैं.
तो पंकज, जो प्रोक्योरमेंट मैनेजमेंट प्लान है वो भी बेसिकली बोइंग का या प्रॉक्टर एंड गैम्बल का है, राइट?
Obviously, बिल्कुल उनका.
So would it be like a single plan that they'll be creating or like individual plans for each of
single. देखो procurement plan, because here procurement management plan has to be aligned to overall project management plan of Boeing.
Correct, yeah.
Right, so it has to be a single plan.
Okay.
Right. इसीलिए, see, the closure of this project, right? The closure of, this is a question which is being asked in PMP exam also. The closure of project, right, of, Boeing or Unilever or any other customer, right, project will not coincide with the closure of these people, right? For example, during the life cycle of the project of Boeing, multiple people will close their projects, right? Now they are closing their projects. See, for HCL, it will be closing of project, right? For HCL or Accenture or PwC, it will be closing of project. But for Boeing, it will be closing of procurement, right? Because their project will be closed much later.
Correct. Yeah.
Right. Now, we were discussing about now. See, if a customer asks you simply to submit the quote, right, then you have to respond by sharing the price. Right. Now, generally, what happens, for small projects, right, where scope of work, as Vishal said, is clear, customer will generally ask you request for quote. For example, when I do training assignment with different corporates, I have been given only request for quote, right? Nobody asked me for a training project. Nobody asked me to submit a proposal. Why? See, request for proposal means, customer is not only asking for price. When somebody is sending you request for proposal, you are not only supposed to send the price, customer is expecting the proper solution, the proper approach. So a proposal document will talk about the entire approach for how the supplier will complete the work, right? For example, the solution, the approach, the roles and responsibilities of various people involved, and the price, right? Now, in some cases, customer also asks for request for information about the background, right? The history, the references, etc. of the supplier before RFP and RFQ happens. So, is the difference between request for quote, request for proposal, RFI clear to all of you? Is the difference clear to all of you guys? Now, if the difference is clear, we can go through different types of contracts, right? Now, I'm starting with a very basic contract, first of all, right? And these contract types should be decided right in the beginning during plan procurement by the customer, right? Now, this is a very simple contract. I think everybody has seen time and material contract, guys. We are going through time and material contract, right? Now, in time and material contract, right? In time and material contract, you pay labor, right, on hourly basis, right? You pay labor on hourly basis. For example, if for example, Ketan has worked, right, in my project for 1 day, right, and his billing rate is 1 day means 8 hours, and his billing rate is $50 per hour, right? What will be the price of the contract as per time and material? Will it be $400 or not? Tell me, guys. If Ketan, right, who is in this group also, he has done some Java work for me, a small project.
20 days per a month, right?
Right. So, and his billing rate is $50 per hour. He has only worked for 1 day. So, will his total billing be 50 into 8, 400 hours or not?
Yes.
$400 or not?
Right.
Right. So, this is time and material billing, right? Where the customer pays the supplier, right, the billing rate for every person, for every team member, and if there is a material cost incurred, right, they are paid for material also, right? For example, let's take this scenario. See, a project has right, one developer, or let's say more developers. See, five developers, five developers, one architect, one arc, right, one BA, right, and a project manager. right? Let's assume that project manager is also full-time billable for the project. Let's assume it, right? Now, if developers billing rate is, let's say $20 per hour, right? $20 per hour. Architect, let's say, is $40 per hour. And the billing rate of, let's say, BA and PM both are $30 per hour. And that of PM is also, let's say, $30 per hour. Right? And let's assume that they work on a project for, I'm just simplifying the calculation. So I'm saying they work on a project for 40 working days. Now, can you quickly calculate the price of the contract? Right? Can you quickly give me the price of the contract? Right? There are 5 developers working at $20 per hour. There is 1 architect working at $40 per hour, 1 BA and 1 PM at $30 per hour each, right? And they work for 40 working days. What is the price of the contract? Can you quickly calculate? Use your calculators, guys. Use calculator.
$200 into 40.
How much? Dekho, see, 5 into 20 per hour cost is 5 into 20, 100. 100 plus 140, right? Plus 170, 200. So is it $200 per hour?
Yes.
Now $200 per hour and 40 working days means 320 hours. So 320 into 200 should be the answer or not? Yes or no, guys? What do you think, Charu? Charu, what should be the
200 into 8 into 40.
but that's it. 200
200
into
into
40,
8
that's it.
into 40.
Yes, that's it, right? And if there is any material consumed, for example, if there was a server that was purchased and it costed you, let's say, another $5,000, you can add that server cost also, right? Is that fine? So this is TNM.
And
Now tell me,
200 hours total and days are
yeah, 200,
40,
yeah, 40 working days means 8 hours a day means 320 hours, right?
200 into 8 into 40, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
Total.
That's the final price, right? Right. Ethan. Now, tell me, if this TNM project, who is at risk in this TNM project? A customer or a supplier? Because there will generally they ask you questions around the contracts and the risk associated. Who is at risk?
Customer.
The customer. Now tell me why customer is at risk. See, customer is at risk. Why? Because see, customer is paying you on hourly basis, and because of some bad performance, right? Let's say instead of 40 working days, you took 60 working days. If you take 60 working days, customer has to pay you how much?
1.5.
Yeah, $20 into the billing rate, 200 more.
Yes.
Right? Now, whose mistake was the delay happened because of mistake of a supplier, but who is being penalized?
The customer is being penalized in
The
this.
customer is penalized, right? So, when you talk about TNM, right, time and material project, in a TNM project, the customer is, right, is always at a risk. The buyer is always at risk, right? Is that okay? Now tell me, can you tell me some ways, to modify the design of a TNM contract so that you can mitigate the risk of customer? Can you add some agility to TNM contract so that so that customers' risk or buyers' risks are reduced? Tell me, guys, is there any way?
We can reduce number of hours for architect. somewhere for PM
No,
also?
see,
Huh?
TNM, no, see, again, TNM, there's a billing rate per hour, right? Now, so to add agility to contract, what you can do is you can create a varying billing rate, right? For example, right? This is agility. This is a part of agile contract, and this is called as graduated fixed price contract, in fact, right? See, what you can do is, if the project is delivered on exact dates, like in 40 working days, the billing rate will be this only, $20, $40. If, let's say, project is delayed by 10 days, 10 working days, you will reduce the billing rate by $5, right? Developer will be $15 per hour. Architect will be, $35 per hour, and BA and PM will be $25 per hour, right? Now, further 10 days delay will again $5 penalty. So the billing rate will change to $10 per hour, $30, $20 per hour, right? And you can also keep incentive. For example, if they are able to complete project in 30 working days, you can give some incentive like 30, 10, $5 extra, $25 per hour, $45 per hour, $35 per hour, and $35 per hour. So tell me, if I give incentives and penalties like this in a TNM contract, will it be more efficient or not? Will it be more efficient or not?
Yes, Pankaj, it will be for sure.
Right. And another way to make it more efficient is, you can not efficient, but at least mitigate the risk of customer is by adding a not to exceed clause. Right? You can pay billing rate, but not beyond a certain point. Right? For example, if the
I have a question here.
Yeah.
I mean, when we're talking about the mitigation for the agile perspective, we are reducing or we are actually compensating on the hourly basis cost.
Yeah.
Is cost is the only factor which is going to improve or which is going to reduce your risk of whatever work you are getting done from the vendor?
See, for example, there can be other incentives also on other parameters also, like quality, right? Other
Yes,
areas also.
when I am, if I am a vendor.
In theory, everything works, but the reality is, it is only money that is supreme, right? In commercial projects, कंपनी को सांस लेने के लिए जो फ्यूल चाहिए वो तो पैसा ही देगा, सबको सैलरीज देनी है.
नहीं, I'm not saying कि cost is not the only problem. The point is, if I am taking anything from external vendor, the point where there is a probability that the project could get failed or the services which I am expecting are not up to the mark, they are expected in terms of deliverables I am getting.
देखो deliverables है,
but
अगर 40 नहीं बस, but listen, see, you tell me, see, the project was of 40 working days, right? And after 60 working days, I got my deliverable on time, Charu, right? And deliverables are good on 60th working day, when I got that deliverable, they were in very good shape, right? The client was not able to deliver on 40th working days because there were some bugs and there was some rework and many other things, right? Are you getting a point? On 60th working day, I got deliverables, absolutely in good shape.
No, the only point which I am trying to raise is deliverables time is one thing. But if I am getting anything in between from the vendor, like I'm not getting the complete deliverable on 60th working day, rather I am getting something on 10th or 20th working day, where if we are not in sync with the vendor, I can provide my feedback to the vendor that this is something which I am not expecting. I mean, when you're talking about agile, isn't it the small deliverables which are going to help? This is what the question was.
See, then again, I'll tell you. See, this is one way I said mitigate. Now, we can have a sprint level planning. Can we have a sprint level billing?
I agree with that part. I'm just talking about in terms of procurement. If we are getting like, I mean, I have not done anything on 60 working days or something like that with anyone in my experience. The point is when we are working for only like a month or 2 months, in those times, does it make sense to get that agile thing working, as in I'll be paying extra to the vendor, but the chances of contract failure I can reduce in case I am getting the deliverable, the intermediate deliveries in between.
This is there are multiple ways to handle it. Right? One way is, we will handle all the situations. For example, this is a 2-month project. 40 working days means 2 months, right? This is a 2-month project, right? And this is a billing rate. TNM is a billing rate decided.
Okay.
Right? Now, I want to secure myself also that, okay, now see this can, this can work only when when I understand the fact that, the scope of work given to the customer is very, very clear.
Correct.
Right? If in between there are interim changes, this won't work.
Correct.
Right? This is not work. This won't work. Right? So there are other ways of, setting the contract also. So I just gave you one scenario. Right? I'm 100% sure that, okay, the work should be done in 40 working days. The scope of work is absolutely clear, no ambiguities, right? And I have given a TNM project to the customer, right? And this is the situation.
Okay.
Right.
And one more thing, in this type of situation, when we are sure on the amount of work to be done, in this situation, who gives the parameter of 40 and 60 working days? Customer or the seller? Customer or the vendor?
Both, right? See, both agree on a timeline. Both agree, because
agreement, I understand. First proposal I'm asking.
Yeah. See, the first proposal, the timeline will come from the supplier.
Okay.
Then there would be a negotiation.
Yeah, makes sense. I mean, then the
And
supplier
again,
giving the hourly rate and the timeline.
But multiple things happen. See, this I have given you a very small and basic scenario. Many times there's a hybrid contract also, right? Now, for example, see, let's go through all the contracts, because this is only 5% of the whole story.
Sure.
This will not fit the bill every situation. I just gave you a way to mitigate the risk of this situation, right?
Yeah.
There are multiple issues in contracts, so we have to go through all of them first, right?
Yes.
Now, second situation is a lump sum price, right? Second situation is a lump sum price, right? Now, the supplier gives, or a customer or supplier and customer, they agree on a fixed price. For example, I'll complete your project and I'll charge $1 million, right? I'll complete your project and I'll charge $1 million, right? This is a firm fixed price contract. Right? Is that okay? Now, tell me, in this kind of contract, who is at risk? Customer or supplier? Supplier, right? Now, in a fixed price contract where lump sum price is given, the supplier will be at risk, right? For example, right? If this is the timeline of the project, these are the timelines, suppose. These are the timelines, right? Now, tell me, if actual scope turn out to be more than the perceived scope. Suppose, customer thought that, scope of work is this much only, right? But actual scope is this much, right? The actual scope is much more than this, right? Customer thought the scope will be this much only, right? Now tell me, how likely it is that if that actual scope may turn out to be more than the perceived scope, right? And if it happens, who will bear the cost beyond this point?
Supplier.
The supplier himself, right? So in a fixed price contract, there might be a situation that actual scope might be more than the perceived scope, right? And a point will come after which the supplier has to bear the price of the contract, and this is called as point of total assumption, right? This point after which supplier bears the cost of the contract, is called as point of total assumption.
So this is when supplier misunderstood the scope.
Yes, supplier misunderstood the scope, right? He misinterpreted. He thought it's much lesser than what what actual scope was, or when supplier underperceives the scope of one project, right? So generally, firm fixed price contracts are riskier for the supplier. Now, what does PMI say? PMI says, see, a contract should be always a win-win situation. Contract should always be a win-win situation from the perspective of customer as well as supplier, right? In long run, any win-lose kind of a contract will not be successful. So what they recommend is, if the scope of work is not clear, right? If the scope of work is not clear, you can use T&M contracts. If the scope of work is clear, you can use firm fixed price contract, right? If the scope of work is extremely clear, you can use firm fixed price. If it is not clear, you can use T&M, right? Now, you can also use a combination of the two. See, many times, many people use combination of two, right? This is called as hybrid contract, right? Hybrid contract, a combination of T&M and firm fixed price. Now, what is a combination of T&M and firm fixed price? Till the time you are exploring the scope, till the time the scope is not signed off, the scope is not baseline, you will go with T&M, time and material. Once the scope is baseline, for rest of the project, you will again resubmit a fixed bid, right? This is called as a hybrid contract. So many times you use a combination. Is that okay? Now, to make firm fixed price contract more efficient, right, or more effective, right, to make these type of contracts more effective and more efficient, right, you can use fixed price plus incentive. Now, incentive means if the supplier performs better in terms of timelines, the quality, right, or customer satisfaction parameters are high, right, apart from the fixed price, the supplier is given a incentive also, right? For example, suppose the price of my project is $5 million US. If I deliver it 1 month earlier, there can be a $1 million US as an incentive, right? This type of contract is fixed price plus incentive fee, right? Now, within these type of contracts, there is one more variant which is called as fixed price plus economic price adjustment, right? Now, fixed price plus economic price adjustment, this EPA, FP plus EPA project contracts, see, they are more relevant for projects that span more number of years. They're very long projects. Now, tell me, if a project is spanning from 3 to 4 years, right? If a project is spanning from 3 to 4 years, or let's say 2 to 3 years, will it be impacted by economic factors such as inflation rate? Even the salaries of the people working in the project, would they change or not? Right? The salaries of people will change. There will be inflation rate also, right? So when we talk about, projects spanning over 2 to 3 years or 3 to 4 years, right, they're highly impacted by the economic factors. So there is an agreement. Now in fixed price plus economic price adjustment contracts, there is an agreement, there is an understanding between customers and supplier, right? There's an understanding between customer and supplier, right? That based on the economic condition, right? Every year, based on the economic condition, economic factors, the terms and condition of the contract will be renewed, right? So such contracts are called as fixed price plus economic price adjustment contracts, right? FP plus EPA contracts, right? Now, the third type of contract, which is cost-reimbursable contract, right? Generally, projects that require highly polished and niche skills, we follow cost plus contracts, right? These are also called as cost plus contracts. Now, in a cost plus contract, the customer pays supplier the cost of all the resources, human and non-human resources, right? Now see, any kind of cost plus contract, right? It mitigates the risk associated with the T&M contracts, right? Now see, there is a hidden risk associated with the T&M contract, right? The hidden risk is, right? Suppose I am doing a project that requires very polished skills, right? And customer, let's say, pays. Now customer needs an architect. Customer pays supplier, right? Let's say $100 for an architect. And the project involves niche skills, right? Now tell me, if customer is paying $100 for an architect to the supplier, now how likely it is that supplier, in the interest of maximizing their profits, will try to hire the cheapest architect available in the market? Or they can have a threshold that, okay, we should make at least 60% margin, right? I'll hire a architect less than $40 per hour. How likely it is? Tell me, guys. Does it happen or not? If customer is paying a supplier, let's say $100 for an architect, and supplier hires an architect for $40 per hour, is it possible or not? Tell me, guys. If customer hires a developer, customer pays 25 or let's say $40 per hour for a developer, supplier hires a trainee and pay them only $5 per hour. Does it happen or not?
Yes, Pankaj, that can easily happen.
To improve margin, they can do.
Now tell me, if the project involves niche and polished skills, who will be impacted because of this strategy of supplier?
The customer.
Right? The customer will be impacted because of this strategy of a supplier, right? Yes or no? Because, if you pay peanuts, will you get skilled resources or you will get monkeys, right? There's a saying also, if you pay peanuts, you will get monkeys, right? So tell me, is there any way this risk can be mitigated? Now, if instead of time and material, I establish a cost plus fixed fee or any cost plus cost reimbursable contract where customer will say, I need highly polished resources, right? I need highly skilled person, and I'll directly pay whatever he will charge, right? Even if a good architect charges $250 per hour, I am willing to pay, but I'll be directly paying to the resource, right? And custom and supplier, as a supplier, I'll pay you fixed fee for your mobilization effort. Now, if I say this, will this kind of contract be more transparent and more successful as per the needs of the customer or not? Are you getting what I'm trying to say?
Yes, Pankaj, that would be more suitable.
Right. And it will be more transparent also.
Yeah.
See, I have seen contracts like this. For example, the contract between DLF and L&T, because DLF wanted extremely bright resources. So what happens? Every month, the Excel sheet of the people who were there in the project goes to DLF. They run the payroll, and the money is deposited in the account of the resources, right? Or there can be some other channel also, but the format is that the customer will be paying to resources and supplier will get a fixed fee, right? Such contracts are called as cost plus or cost reimbursable contracts, right? So I hope the difference between a cost reimbursable contract and T&M must be clear to all of you, right? Now, We have discussed cost plus fixed fee. This fixed fee is the amount that supplier gets for his effort, right, in arranging the resource. Now, there can be other formats also here, like cost plus incentive fee. Now, see this is written cost plus incentive fee, but it is actually cost plus fixed fee plus incentive, right? Cost plus fixed fee plus award fee, right? Incentive is, if based on certain parameters, right? It may be cost or some other criteria, right? Incentive is given to the supplier, right? And it can be cost plus fixed fee plus award fee also. The difference between incentive fee and the award fee is, in award fee, we don't define the parameters, right? If customer is happy, right, then the money will be, the award fee will be paid. If the customer is unhappy, it will not be. So they're relatively less guaranteed as compared to the incentive, right? So these are primarily three different types of contracts, right? Cost reimbursable, right? T&M and fixed price, right? And we, as I told you, we sometimes use hybrid contracts also, right? Now, Charu, we can now take, since we have gone through all the contracts, now we can take your question. Charu, do you still have that question? If you have this question, we can take it now.
I'm sorry, Pankaj, I got a call. Can you please repeat the question?
Yeah, see, you asked me some question on the typical contract challenges you have. So since we have gone through all the different types of contracts, right? If the same question is still there, I can answer it.
No, the question was just on the agility part when you introduced that term. So
Yeah.
my questions were around that only.
Okay, see, you can make contract flexible through multiple means. One means I discuss, now see, in many companies nowadays, in agile contracts, they have, billing or payment based on sprint success. The sprint is successful, right? If it is as per definition of done, you're paid, else you're not paid. So, multiple situations happen at multiple point of time, right? Now,
Pankaj, can we go to the other slide of contracts? Yeah. The cost one.
yeah, this is the cost one.
Yeah. So here we are saying like cost plus fixed fee is the first one, and then we have cost plus
fixed fee
award.
plus
Yeah.
it's actually,
so
cost plus fixed fee plus award.
No, I'm talking about the first and third one only. So, I mean, is it necessary that, we mention that our contract is of cost plus fixed plus award?
No, even no title should be mentioned. Not needed.
Okay, so
it is
basically
just to explain.
it is
It
up
is
to
for
the
your
customer.
understanding.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is for the
It's a
customer
theory.
yeah.
It's a theory, right?
Okay.
So, you don't need to tell that it's a fixed price contract. By default, if customer is saying that I'll pay you $5 million US for the whole, right, scope, this is a fixed price, right?
All right.
So now, are the different types of contract clear to all of you? Right. Now, see.
Pankaj, just one thing, if you can pick, in cost plus award fee, there is legitimate cost which is being mentioned.
Yeah, seller is reimbursed for seller means supplier, for an agreed upon performance cost plus, right, plus all the legitimate cost. See, the award fee is not guaranteed here. Right. So here you are, see, when you say award is not tied to any tangible parameter. So, it's up to customer satisfaction or dissatisfaction, which can be a relative thing. Right. Obviously, in every contract, the customer pays supplier whatever is legitimate. So this legitimate word is there in everything.
I mean, I was just concerned that in case like supplier is the seller is paying for the supplier.
No, seller is not paying, sir. Customer is paying.
Sorry, my bad. Yes, customer is paying to the seller for the work, which is as we've talked about fixed fee, Is it like positive or negative, both things?
No, so that's why I'm saying that, don't use it if you feel it is not relevant somewhere, right? Don't use this. See, nobody's forcing you to use it. Tell me if as a customer you want the best architect available.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me, in that case, will you use time and material or cost reimbursable?
Cost reimbursable.
Cost reimbursable, because you know that if I use T&M, you might be paying $300 to the supplier, but he might be paying only $40 to his architect or whatever resource that he or she is, right? Right. Now, if it is a mundane kind of a task, regular task, which is okay, right? In that case, will you do a cost plus or will you do a T&M? You are okay with T&M then?
Yeah.
Because the billing rates will be lower, right? Is that okay?
Actually, I saw somewhere while practicing for the questions where they mentioned about the legitimate cost. So I am so sorry, I cannot recollect the question altogether.
No. See, legitimate cost is any legal cost as per contract that customer is bound to pay the supplier, right?
Legal contract, so a legal contract has to be there.
Every contract is legal and every cost is a legitimate cost in the contract.
Huh.
Every cost is a legitimate cost in the contract.
Yeah. Anyways, ठीक है. Let's go.
The only thing is, RITA में cost reimbursable contract गलत दिया हुआ है, right? Now, I don't know, I have not read the latest version, right, that came after the new pattern of exam. But till the latest pattern, the whole concept was wrong regarding cost plus, right, in RITA बोलता है. Is that okay?
Okay.
Right, so RITA से पढ़ोगे तो RITA में तो ये लिखा हुआ है, this cost plus is the highest, it bears the highest risk.
No, I haven't read from anywhere else yet.
No, but ठीक है, देखो legitimate. See, if you have that question, we can discuss that question. Right?
Yeah, I'll find that question actually.
Yeah,
that will be better.
So if you have, I can share. You can.
I don't have right now. That is the problem actually.
Perfect. Right. See, in contracts there can be other costs also. See, for example, all the costs are legitimate, but we are not talking about any regulatory costs, right? So in some contract there are some regulatory costs also, which are also legitimate, right? So it's a simple. See, legitimate word means legal. That's it. Now, by the end of this planned procurement process, right? By the end of this process, right, which is planned procurement, the bid documents would be sent to the shortlisted sellers, right? By the end of this process, all the bid documents will reach the shortlisted sellers. Yes or no? Right? What are the bid documents? The request for proposal, the request for quote, the request for information. Now, once these bid documents are there with the supplier, the customer, by the time the plan procurement is over, the bid documents, right, the RFP or RFQ, whatever you have used, will go to the supplier. Now, what will happen during conduct procurement, right? Now, what will happen? What will supplier do after receiving the RFP? Suppose supplier has received request for proposal. What will the supplier do? Tell me, guys, what will supplier do? after receiving the RFP, what will be the supplier? Will supplier be submitting the proposal to the customer? See, suppose supplier has received, as a supplier, you have received request for proposal. Will you respond to the customer by sending the proposal? Or will you have some queries before you submit the proposal? See, customer has submitted your request for proposal. The request for proposal will have a statement of work. You can have queries regarding any element of the RFP or not.
We must have.
Yeah.
Right.
In case if things are not clear, then yes.
Yeah, and generally it happens, right? You might have queries, and you need to, before you submit the final proposal,
We
which is a
discussed
very
with
important.
couple of rounds also.
Yeah, you have to do a couple of rounds. See, before you submit the final proposal, right? You want to ensure that your proposal should be proper. So you need to clarify the queries, right? Now, see, PMI has a lot of ethics, talks about lot of ethics around procurement. For example, as per PMI, if there is any queries or lack of understanding, right? If there are any queries or lack of understanding regarding the RFP, any queries that suppliers will have, they should be resolved together in a bidders conference. Can you see bidders conference? Now, customer should not be clarifying the queries of the supplier by meeting them in isolation, right? He should not individually meet any of the supplier. All the queries that the suppliers have, they should be resolved together in a bidders conference, right? This is an important ethic, right? You should not be, disclosing unequal amount of information to different suppliers. You should not be biased, right? Equal amount of information should be shared with all the potential suppliers. Is that okay? Is that okay, guys? Now, if I have said bidders conference, it does not mean that you need a conference room and all the suppliers should come physically. See, the way we are conducting video call, can a bidders conference also happen this way? On a Zoom meeting or a Teams meeting? Can a bidders conference happen like this or not? Yes or no, guys? Tell me, please.
Yes, Pankaj, definitely this can be done.
And what else can, and what can be other way to resolve the queries, which is ethical? Now, see, a customer can receive queries of all the suppliers. He can prepare reply and then create a web link, right, of the reply. Can it also be done? This is also ethical, right? Now, second ethic, right? Second ethic around procurement is, if there is any conflict of interest, it should be disclosed immediately. For example, if you are on a source selection committee, suppose Nitin is on source selection committee and Nitin's friend has also bid for a contract. So should Nitin disclose the relationship or not? Tell me, Nitin, should you tell everyone that your friend or relative has also bid for the project and exit from the source selection? You should.
No.
You should. See, is it not? See, if you are on a source selection board, if you're on a vendor selection board, and one of your relative has also bid for the project, is it not conflict of interest? Charu, tell me, is it a conflict of interest?
Yes, it is.
It is, right? Isha, is it a conflict of interest?
Yes.
Right. So should you disclose this and exit from the source selection board or not? Right? You should disclose this and exit from the source selection board. Right? Now, suppose all the queries, right, of the vendors are clarified. Right? Now, since the queries of all the suppliers are clarified. Will they submit proposal or not? They will be submitting proposal. Now, after the proposal is submitted, there may be few rounds of talk also with the customer, and there may be some negotiation also, right? After all of this, right, the customer will evaluate different proposals, right? They will select one seller or multiple seller and agree and establish a contract or agreement with the selected sellers or seller, right? A customer will have a contract with the selected seller or agreement, or right, or one seller or multiple sellers, right? Now, how does a contract look? What does it contain? Can we see some of the important elements of a contract document? Let's see, how does a contract look? See, a contract looks like this. Can you see the elements of the contract? Guys, can you see the elements of the contract now?
Yes, Pankaj.
All the bulleted points. Now, see, what I'll do is, please go through this contract for all the elements for 3 minutes. Then we'll discuss them one by one. Right? I'll give you 3 minutes. Please go through every element of the contract, because there can be questions on the different elements of the contract. So go through them. Can we start? Now, can we start one by one?
Yes, Pankaj.
Now, statement of work or deliverables, should it be part of a contract or not? Now, this is a standard contract. You can use subset of this contract also in some small projects. Statement of work, scope of work, or deliverables. It should be there in the contract. Now, I don't think you should have any doubts in the first element of the contract. Any doubts on the first element of the contract? Statement of work or deliverables?
That's fine.
Fine. Second is the schedule baseline or schedule targets. Right? The third is performance reporting, right? Now see, as a customer, should I expect some status reports from the supplier or not, to update me on the progress against the schedule target or any other targets? See, if I'm a customer, I have given project to supplier, right? I should expect that supplier should update me on the progress of the project on regular basis through performance reports, right? And in your customer supplier arrangements also, do you give updates to the customer on the performance? What you have achieved? That expectation will be made clear through performance reporting. Right? Now, any doubts between first three? Any doubts between first three? Now the fourth one is period of performance, right? Now tell me how there's a period of performance.
Sorry, Pankaj. Can you just clarify once this performance reporting?
See, Nitin, do you send status reports to the customer on the progress of your project?
Yeah, right.
That expectation should be made clear right by the customer, right at the contract. Does he want a weekly report, fortnightly report, or monthly report, or all of them?
Okay.
Or all of them, right? So that is performance report. Now there is period of performance here, right? Now, sometimes some people feel, there is a period of performance, there is a schedule baseline. What is the difference? See, tell me, even after the project is handover, do we have some warranty period also or not for early life cycle support?
I'm not sure.
We have. See, if you have handovered the project to the customer, does it mean that the project is complete? No. After handover, there is a warranty period, which is also called as early life cycle support, right? Post life cycle support, right? So, where you give some support. Now, after the warranty period is over, when the then the transition sign off happen, that is actually the closure point of the project. Right. So this period of performance will include that part also, right? Now, roles and responsibilities of all the sides. Roles and responsibilities of both the sides from customer and supplier should be clearly stated in a contract, right? Now, seller's place of performance, will supplier work from their side or on site or work from home is permissible. It should be defined in the contract. The pricing terms, how the pricing will happen, right? The pricing terms, right? Pricing should be as per the type of contract, right? The pricing terms will be different for a fixed price contract. They will be different for a T&M contract. They will be different for a cost-reimbursable contract. How the payment will happen, the payment terms. Will the payment be milestone based or hourly based, or it may be sprint based in case of agile contract, right? The place of delivery, right? The final handover, the place where the final handover will happen. The inspection and acceptance criteria for the project, right? The warranty, the kind of warranty you will give, right? The early life cycle support, right? The long-term product support. See, the long-term product support is not a part of the project, but at least the agreement can be given as a part of the project, right? Now, now the important one. See, so far we have gone through the simple one. Now, can somebody try to define what is limitation of liability? What is limitation of liability clause in a contract? What is limitation of a liability? Guys, what is limitation of liability? Tell me. Try at least. Can anyone try? Ritesh, can you try limitation of liability?
So I think in a simpler term, yes, please.
Yeah. Shailja, you were saying something.
Yeah, so what I was saying is limitation of liability is basically, so it defines the liability the supplier will have.
Yeah. So
The
is it
amount
to
of,
Is it to protect the supplier?
It is.
It is, right? It is. See, limitation of liability clause is to protect the supplier, right? Now, you give a cap on supplier's liability. Now, I'll give one example here, right? See, suppose, I have a contract with Amazon, right? I'm supporting Amazon, right? I have a contract with Amazon. And the contract is, right, some value, right? In the contract, I'll define the benefit of defining maximum liability in the contract is, it limits my liability as a supplier. Now, suppose because of any issue, right, in the infrastructure, suppose Amazon website is down. Now, if Amazon website is down, the loss can be in $1 billion. Can it be $1 billion loss if it's even if it's a 10 minutes of downtime? If Amazon,
it is,
right?
Pankaj, it is.
Now, see, Amazon can, ask me to pay for the loss, right? We have lost 10 billion US dollars. We have to pay for this loss, right? They can file a case against us also. So if I have a limitation of liability clause, which says that, the maximum liability of a supplier, right, should not go beyond the size of the contract, or maybe, maximum liability should not go beyond a X amount. Will it, help me? Will it mitigate my risk as a supplier or not? Divya, what do you think? Will it mitigate your risk as a supplier or not?
Yes, Pankaj, if
Yeah.
you can.
So limitation again, all those were simple. So I, quickly went through them, right? But you should understand what is limitation of liability. Is that okay?
Yes, Pankaj.
Right now, the next thing is, fee and retainer. Right now, see, retainer fee is not always applicable. Now, what is a retainer? Can somebody tell me retainer? What is retainer? See, you guys should know retainer. Why? Because, you are upgrading yourself. So, at some point of time, you would love to work like a retainer. Have you heard about retainer fees and retainer?
Retention bonus we have heard of.
No, but retainer fee, I'll tell you. See, now, first of all, in some projects, do you require very high-end subject matter experts or not? An expert might be architect. Generally, see, this retainer has come into the world, from lawyers, very senior reputed lawyer. They charge fee and retainers, right? They charge retainer fee. Now, how does the whole retainer fee works? We will talk about this. Now, tell me, in some project, very high-end architect or consultants, are they required or not?
Yes.
You might, now there can be multiple situations where you can't hire those people on a regular payroll because they might be very expensive, right? They are hired for a particular period of time, right? And they are paid a retainer fee. Now, how the whole retainer fee works, right? Now, see, retainers are paid, there are two ways retainer are paid. One is pay to excess, right? Another is on hourly basis, right? This is how the retainers are paid. Now, retainer fee will not be there in every project. Wherever retainers are there, retainer fee will be there, right? Now tell me, if you hire a subject matter expert on temporary basis for your project, right? And he might be required somewhere in the middle or wherever. First of all, will a subject matter expert, since he's blocking time for you, right? Would he expect to have some confirmation on the number of hours he will be engaged?
Yes, Pankaj, definitely.
Right. Now, first I'll be talking about pay, those retainers who are paid on hourly basis, right? For example, there is an understanding between customer and supplier about the projection of hours. How much is the projection of hours? Can you see the 15, right? And then there is an agreement between rate per hours. Rate per hour. How much is the rate per hour here?
$500.
So what is the retainer fee?
7,500.
Now tell me, if Shailja, if you're working as a retainer, let's say you're a subject matter expert. Obviously, if somebody is saying that this is the projection of hours, this is a pay per hour, right? If you are a popular and you're an expert in your field, obviously you would like to have this money in advance.
Yes.
Tell me, will you work without having this money in advance?
No.
No. Suppose Shailja is working on pay hourly as a, right, as a retainer, right, and a consultant and a subject matter expert. Now, what will happen? Right, customer will pay Shailja $7,500, right? Now, this is the way Shelja has been working. First week, how much hours Shelja has spent? 5, right? Now, she will be invoicing the customer for 2,500, right? And the balance, now see, since customer has paid everything in advance, now what is the balance retainer fee? 5,000.
Yes.
Second week, 4 hours, invoice charge 2,000, and the balance will be 3,000. Third week is 5 hours, right? Invoice charge this, and balance retainer fee is 500, right? And since Shelja has not worked for 15 hours, she has worked for 14 hours, she will be refunding the customer 500, right? This happens when the retainer charge on hourly basis. Now, there is a concept of pay to excess also for retainer. Now, pay to excess, the difference is that, okay, now see, pay to excess is meant for those people, right? Suppose Shelja is a consultant who has shown proven success, and she's very, very reputed in her field, and she has shown repeated success. Now, in that case, how pay to excess retainership will work is like this. For example, the projection of hours is 15, right? But the actual hour consumed are how much? 14.
14 hours.
Will
Yes.
Shelja refund this fee?
I should not, because
No,
you've
no.
already agreed for 15 hours.
Right. No, she will not be refunding. If projection of hours is 15 and Shelja has blocked, 3 weeks for the customer, and there is no work in 3 weeks, will Shelja refund the fee?
No.
No. Even then, Shelja will not refund the fee. Right? Is that okay?
Yes.
So is the concept of fee and retainer clear to all of you? Right. Now, before I go to the right-hand side, right? If you have any questions on whatever we have discussed so far as a format, as a content of the contract, if you have any questions, please ask me. Are you okay with all the bulleted points here? Vishal, are you okay with all the bulleted points? Vishal, are you okay?
Yes, Pankaj.
Right. Ritesh, Isha, Embalo.
Yes, yes.
Perfect. So shall we discuss all the points on the right hand side?
Pankaj, what was that payment terms?
See, payment terms can vary. See how the customer will pay to supplier. For example, it can be milestone based, right? It can be nowadays, many consulting companies, including Big Five. I saw some contracts in KPMG where the customer pays supplier on the basis of success of a sprint. At the end of every sprint, they are paid based if the sprint is successful. Right. So these are payment terms.
Yeah, that's milestone basis also.
It can be milestone based also. It can be everything at the end also. So it varies from project to project, right? Whatever you establish here.
Okay.
Now, can we discuss all these, the right-hand ones? So
Yes.
guys, as we discussed, penalties and incentives can be part of the contract,
Yes.
right? Obviously, we discussed also, right? Incentives and penalties. Penalties for bad performance, like delays, incentive for good performance, right? Now, apart from this, right, there is an important item here, insurance and performance bonds. Now, have you heard of insurance and performance bonds? Insurance and performance bonds.
Yes.
Now, what are insurance and performance bonds? See, we discussed about limitation of liability for the protection of supplier. Now, tell me, in a contract, should there be anything to protect buyer also? Should there be anything, any element to protect buyer? Now, this insurance and performance bonds are to protect whom? The buyer, the customer. Now, tell me, if in the middle of the project, the supplier gets bankrupt, he doesn't have money to pay salary to his employees, he doesn't have money to actually to perform the project. Now, if this happens, who will be impacted? Tell me, guys.
The
If
customer will be at loss.
the customer, right?
Yes.
But then if your supplier, if supplier becomes bankrupt, who is impacted? Will customer be impacted or not?
Yeah. Yes.
Right? See, if the project requires huge investment, it's a big, huge, complex project. See, you can't say that, he can go to some other supplier in the middle of the project. It's not that easy. So if there are such projects that require huge investment, right, from the supplier side also, right, they're complex projects. Now, before a customer officially give a contract, right, is it not the right thing that he should expect that supplier should have a proper insurance and performance bond, which is specific to this project? Right? If the supplier takes insurance and performance bonds, right, in case supplier gets bankrupt in the middle of the project, right, the insurance and the funding of the project should be done from insurance and performance bonds. Yes or no?
Yes, it should.
Right. In fact, there should be some mechanism, for builders also. Right. See, when, I'm not saying for big mega project, for at a small level also, because some of us have become victim. I don't know who all. You might have bought some flat from builders and the builders have become bankrupt and the project has gone to NCLT, right? Have you seen this kind of scenario?
Yeah.
Right. So you are a customer here. You have made investment, but supplier becomes bankrupt. The projects are not moving ahead. Don't you think?
Sometimes they have to show as a bankrupt, right?
No, whatever. See, but don't you think, there should be some mechanism of insurance and performance bond also there? Right? If they become bankrupt, but because of legitimate reasons, then, insurance companies and performance bond should, but again, it should happen right in the beginning, right? So customers should ask that, do you have any insurance or performance bond, right? If in case you get bankrupt, right, the project will be funded through those. So is the meaning of this bulleted point, insurance and performance bond, clear to all of you?
Yes, Pankaj.
Right. Now, the next one, subordinate subcontractor. Now, see, guys, what is subcontractor?
Pankaj, just one question. When we say that insurance and performance bonds, in case the supplier is like bankrupt or so, who is going to bear the cost of
This?
Yeah.
See, insurance and performance bonds are taken right in the beginning. And supplier is paying for the insurance because if he becomes bankrupt in the middle of the project should be funded by these bonds.
Are these like companies, insurance companies?
Yeah, there are companies that provide you this kind of insurance and performance bonds. There are insurance companies.
And the same way we have got the insurance policies work. In case we are going for these bonds, what do we say? The installments, they are like pretty higher.
Yes, obviously initially higher, but again, but they cover your risk also.
No, I'm just asking on how the logistics works.
Yeah, see, obviously when, tell me as a customer, if you are doing a big complex project with a supplier, you expect that supplier should have this. Why? Obviously, it will increase the cost of supplier because you have to pay some money. Right?
So this money the customer pays, or the bonds are kept with the customer, or the supplier owns the ownership of that?
Supplier pays.
Okay.
Supplier pays, but yes, supplier can't do goof up with this money. Right? For example, if supplier becomes bankrupt, right, the rest of the project will be funded by insurance and performance bond. Don't think that supplier can misuse that fund.
Okay.
right? So there are proper controls around it,
Yeah, this is what I was trying to ask.
right? But I think, see, in big commercial projects, it happens. But don't you think this is what I'm saying? At a day-to-day buying level also, this should happen. There should be a precondition for any big project that there should be proper insurance and performance bonds.
Yeah. So Pankaj, this is like in case of either of supplier or contractor becomes
No, it is only supplier. It is only supplier, right?
only supplier.
Not this is for
Yeah,
this is for
supplier or
customers
contractor.
protection,
Yeah,
because supplier we buy the bond, right?
correct.
Customer,
So,
yeah.
correct. Yeah. So basically, like as you are, taking the example of flats, right? We have, I mean, most of us have our own flats, right? So like builders, they sometimes become bankrupt, right? And then government companies take care of those projects, right? Because there is some insurance coverage or something like that. But in this scenario where we are having like, these sort of projects, if a contractor becomes bankrupt, right? So he won't be able to continue with the operation, right? Who's going to?
He can continue with the operation, but see, the problem is, contractor is unable to pay salaries, right, to fund the project further, right? So that money will come from insurance and performance bonds.
Okay. But don't we see that as a risk that if a company becoming bankrupt, then probably the skills, I mean, the skilled labor will leave the organization?
See, it's not that easy. See, in the middle of the project, see the plight of the customer. By the time it's a middle of big complex project, has customer already invested a lot of money in the project?
Yeah.
So what is the safest thing you can do from the customer's perspective? The safest thing is, somehow you have to get the work completed by the supplier because you have paid him money.
Correct. Yeah.
Right. So this is the only way to protect.
Okay.
Right.
But,
see, you are in a position in the middle of the big complex project. You can't go to other vendors.
no, that's true. But I think like, I mean, somewhere I'm seeing it as a compromise in quality of the work, because I mean, not necessarily all the skilled labor will remain intact with the contractor who's going back.
See, again, it's not about, it all depends on the nature of the project, the kind of project it is, right? Generally, you see more in construction type of projects. So, the labor skills required are not very high there.
Okay.
And it is available in abundance, right, in most of the places. So,
okay.
But anyways, see, what can you do in the middle? Tell me. See, this clause, insurance and performance bond, it is to protect customer. Now, think from customer's perspective, what other option customer has? He has no option.
Yeah.
Right. Now, subordinate subcontractor approvals. Now, what is a subcontractor? Can somebody tell me what is a subcontractor? What is a subcontractor, guys?
Maybe contractor is awarding part of the project to someone else.
So, suppose Microsoft gives me a project, right? Now, am I allowed to outsource it further? This is now, if see, I am Microsoft's contractor, and if I further outsource it to some other vendor, it is subcontracting. Now, some people allow subcontracting, some people doesn't allow subcontracting. For example, if you have a contract with Microsoft, right? Microsoft doesn't allow subcontracting at all, right? But some people allow subcontracting as well, right? For example, I was working with Indian Navy, right? And they called me for another program, and then they were giving me a list of trainings, right? And I said, there are multiple areas where we don't train. So they said, don't worry, you can outsource it to some other vendors. So in that scenario, with Indian Navy, subcontracting was allowed, right? But many companies like Microsoft, they don't allow a contractor, right, to, outsource it further. So this clause, if you don't expect, right, if you don't expect your contractor or a supplier to further
What
outsource.
would be the reason not allowing contractors?
See, again, it's up to them. See, it's up to them. It's a company's policy. They feel that, quality might or the control might be lost. The kind of
But
control.
one of the reason not to hire contractors like that project margin drops, right?
No, see, project margins, they are paying the fixed price. See, suppose Microsoft has given some work to HCL, right? Now they are paying to HCL. Now there is a contract between Microsoft and HCL, which clearly says HCL cannot outsource it further to any other vendor, right?
Okay.
Now there can be a contract between, let's say, Johnson and Johnson and HCL, which might say that, okay, if HCL is outsourcing or subcontracting it further, there is an approval process which is required that should be clearly stated, right? So there can be different scenarios with different customers. Is that okay? Now, can we see the next one? The change request handling. So can we have some agility in the contract by having some change request mechanism, right? For example, you cannot assume a contract to be completely freezed one, right? So some modification should be allowed based on the situation. So that change management process should be clear, defined here, right? In the change request handling. Is that fine? Is that fine, guys? So any questions regarding penalties, incentives, insurance, and bonds support? And these 5 points before we talk about another important point called as termination clause and alternate dispute resolution ADR mechanism. Any questions on any of the above section before we talk about this?
So, Pankaj, as we are discussing about insurance part, right? So, in case if the supplier becomes bankrupt, so penalties clause by default becomes null and void, right?
See, again, yes, it all depends on the project, but penalty clauses, how can we say penalty becomes null and void?
I mean, see, if he is bankrupt, he's not going to pay any penalty for sure, right?
No, see, okay. See, whether penalty should be waived off or not, I think it's between customer and supplier.
I mean, if he has
Because-
filed bankruptcy, right, the supplier, that means he is unable to, I mean, he's saying that he is not able to continue with the work itself, right? It is just that the basically the companies like Boeing or
See,
someone who's
yeah,
awarding the project.
I agree. It all
They
depends
somehow,
on the.
yeah, they
See,
somehow
ideally,
want to continue
I
with the
think
work.
so. See, legally, legitimately, it becomes null and void, right? It might see they can discuss about it, right? Because see, he has become bankrupt, right? He has filed for bankruptcy. That is a different thing altogether, right? It is not that it does not prevent, right? It does not mean that he can't pay his liability. He has to pay. Still, he owns liability towards multiple people. He has to fulfill those, right? But again, this penalties, is something between customer and the supplier. But obviously, when these kind of things happens, risk is mitigated to a certain extent, but not completely, as you said, right? So it might be possible that, customer might have to waive off this, right? And there might be some impact on performance also.
Correct. Yeah.
See, again, a bankruptcy does not mean that your liabilities are waived off. Right?
I mean, that's what we filed.
See, only in case of bank it happens. See, for example, bank, right? The banks, right? The way the banks work. For example, you all have fixed deposits in bank, right? Now, tell me what happens if bank becomes bankrupt? If bank is officially declared bankrupt, right? Suppose you have a fixed deposit of, let's say, 25 lakhs in a bank.
Yeah, they generally don't refund amount.
No, see, there's a law. See, the law
to a
is
certain amount they can refund.
Yeah, the law was that till the law has been modified for your bid. Now, initially the law was 1 lakh. the bank's liability will be only to refund you 1 lakh.
Correct.
Right? But now the law has been modified. Now see, now the bank will pay you around 5 lakhs.
Yeah, but
So
that is still not
yes.
the entire amount, right?
Yeah, you lose to, but that is legitimate kind of thing. See, we don't read all the documents, right? But if you read all the documents of the bank, it's clearly mentioned here, right? People don't ask for it. I think many people, if they will come to know that, bank has only liability of 5 lakhs, but generally banks don't get bankrupt. When banks are under the situation of getting bankrupt, they get acquired by some other bank.
Okay.
So I have not seen a scenario where people have lost their money because of bank, right? See, UTI Bank became Axis Bank, right? We have seen Yes Bank became part of SBI when it was about to become bankrupt. Now, what is this clause? What is this clause? ADR, alternate dispute resolution. Now see, tell me one thing, right? Can there be conflict between customer and supplier during the contract? Can there be conflict, guys? Ritesh, can there be conflict between customer and supplier during the contract? Ishan, can there
Yes.
be can there be conflicts? Ishan, where is Ishan gone? Ishan didn't join today. Okay. Now Ritesh says yes. Aditya, can there be a conflict between customer and supplier?
Yes.
Right? Now, how you are going to resolve? Right? Nitin, tell me if there is a conflict between customer and supplier. First, should it be resolved internally or not?
Yeah, definitely, Pankaj.
Now you will try internally.
Yeah, correct.
If things are not working out internally, what will be the next step?
And then, sorry.
Yes, sure.
First, we will check at all levels, right, where we can go internally.
Yeah, we can try everything.
Yeah.
We can try everything. If nothing is working out, what should we do? See, we
Yeah.
can try everything. Senior management is involved. A lot of negotiations are happening, but nothing is happening. Then what is the next step?
Arbitration.
Right? Arbitration is the legal way of sorting out. Right? Then you'll go legal way. Now see, a legal way is not in court settlement, it is out of court settlement. Right? This is called as arbitration. Right? Can you see alternate dispute resolution mechanism? Right? Now see, any contract related conflict, if you want to solve it legally, it should be handled through arbitration. Right? Alternative dispute resolution mechanism. Now, who is a arbitrator? How these matters are resolved? Right? Now, the two companies, there are multiple ways arbitrator can come into picture, right? See, an arbitrator can resolve a matter for you. Now, who is an arbitrator? See, an arbitrator can be very senior subject matter expert in the field of law, right? He can also be a retired judge. Now, there are arbitration companies. You can go to those, right? Or, right, or you can go to the court. You can go to the court, right? And that court will be mentioned, right? Wherever your jurisdiction falls, right? Suppose you will go to the court, right? And the court will assign you an arbitrator, right? Court will be assigning an arbitrator to you. Generally, the arbitrator assigned by the court, right? He is a retired judge. Now, the court has assigned arbitrator to you, right? He's a retired judge. Now tell me how this situation will be different from normal, court cases. The situation here is different, but now see, now everything will be between arbitrator who has been assigned by the court and you two, customer and supplier, and arbitrator. Now, this out-of-court settlement will not happen inside the court, right? First of all, you will decide one venue or multiple venue where the arbitrator and you all guys can meet, right? It can be arbitrator's home, it can be your home, it can be a hotel, it can be a hill station, anywhere, right? Now, a customer or supplier can hire lawyer, right? Advocates, or they can also, participate on their own. Now, generally they should hire a advocate. So customer will have an advocate, supplier will have an advocate, and there is an arbitrator. Now, arbitrator will look at documentation from both customer side and the supplier side, right? It is more like a collaborative meeting which is happening, right? And see, the goal of arbitrator is to see every document very, very carefully, right? And the difference between an arbitration and a court case is generally a court case leads to win-lose situation, right? And arbitration is completely based on evidences, right? So generally what arbitrators try to do is they try to create a win-win situation for both the parties, right? They will look into documents and, there is a timeline given to arbitrator that, generally all the arbitration cases should be resolved by arbitrator within 6 months, right? Now, the negative, the positive side of arbitration is that, there are no delays, like what happens in the court, right? But the negative side is, arbitration is a very expensive process. The expensive in the sense, you not only have to pay to your advocate, both the parties have to pay, arbitrator also as a fee that arbitrator charge, which is quite hefty. So it's an expensive method, but a way to resolve conflicts, right? So my question to all of you, is it clear what is alternate dispute resolution or arbitration and how it is different from a normal court case? It is out of court settlement. Is it clear how the out of court settlement happened? Now see, if you want to visualize the scenario, right, there is a movie that came in, right, few years, I think 1 year ago, on Shakuntala Devi, the great mathematician, where Vidya Balan was playing the role of Shakuntala Devi, right? Do you recall that movie?
Yes.
Right? Now, in that movie, Vidya Balan has arbitration with her mother, or her daughter has arbitration with Vidya Balan, right? You
Yeah,
remember?
the daughter had it with Vidya Balan.
Daughter had with Vidya Balan, and they were meeting at a place, right?
Right.
Right. So that was arbitration. That's how arbitration happened. Right? You don't have to go to court, because see, if there's a court case, there are a lot of problems, right? It delays for endless amount, right? In a typical court case, many times the judge changes, many times the judge won't come, he goes on a leave. So there are multiple situations. So those things don't happen in arbitration, right? You have a dedicated arbitrator who has gone through your document in depth, right? Then he take a proper decision, right? Whether to go with an whether to agree on, a win-win kind of a situation, right? Or he should be awarding a contract to, or he should be rewarding to, the case should be rewarded to one party. But again, everything goes as per detailed analysis of the document, right? So these are the major components of the agreement or a contract. If you have any questions, please ask me. No questions? Now, the contract is agreed. Guys, the contract is agreed. Now, the work will start. Now, the work will start. As the work will start, will the customer monitor the performance of the supplier as per the terms of the agreement? Should the customer monitor the performance of a supplier as per the agreement or not? Right? So, the procurement is controlled and closed, right? After the deliverables are complete, on regular basis, right? On regular basis, right? The supplier will be performing the inspection and audit, right? Inspection will be to check how the supplier is working with respect to various performance parameters like quality, cost, timelines, right? And audits for ensuring that whether supplier is following proper processes or not, right? Once all the terms and conditions of the contract are fulfilled, the contracts are, you close the procurement, right? And throughout the project life cycle of a customer, multiple procurements might be closed, right? So, control procurement is primarily about inspection, audits, and closing the procurement, right? Now, can we, to understand more about procurement, can we practice some questions on procurement, guys? Can we do some questions?
Yes, Pankaj.
Right, let's do some questions on procurement. Now, can we start with the questions, guys? Can you see my screen?
Yes,
Yes,
Pankaj.
Pankaj.
Now, question number 1, what should be the answer? Tom is a project manager for a software company. He is contracting a long-term software project with external company. The company charges him $20 per hour per employees and 300 overhead per month. What kind of contract is this? Tell me, guys, simple question.
FP.
अरे नहीं ऐसा मत करो FP यार इसको per hour charge.
TNM.
right?
TNM.
Yes, TNM. The moment you see $20 per hour, go for TNM, right? The moment you see $20 per hour, go for TNM. Which of the following is not true about bidders conference? Which of the following is not true about bidders conference, guys?
A.
A, right?
Yes.
This is false, right? B, Bravo, Charlie, and Delta are correct, right? This is incorrect. All potential sellers should meet separately with buyer. Is an incorrect statement. Absolutely fine. Now, you work for a seller that is bidding on a contract, right? You work for a seller that is bidding on the contract. Which type of contract has the most risk for your company? See, you are a supplier as a supplier, which is the most risky contract?
Fixed price.
Fixed price, absolutely.
Charlie.
Right. Do we all agree, Charlie?
Yes.
Now answer question number 4 carefully. Which of the following best describe the point of total assumption for a contract? Which of the following best describe the point of total assumptions for a contract?
C, Charlie.
Yeah, fixed price.
Absolutely. C, Charlie, right? C, Charlie, absolutely. The fixed point in this contract where seller has to assume all the costs going forward, right? This is a point of total assumption, C, Charlie, right? Now, 5th is a numerical. Try to do it yourself first. Now, I'll just say one thing. See, in this project, you will have to hire an engineer for 35,000 and pay a construction. Now, This 35,000 is a lump sum fee for an engineer. It is not hourly or monthly fee, right? Now, can you try this question yourself? Right. 3 minutes, guys. Try. I'll give you 3 minutes. Try to do it yourself.
Charlie?
I'm also with Charlie. Yeah.
Is it A?
B.
As per my calculation that I'm getting is if the company hires the engineer and pay a construction cost of 15,000 per week, the total amount is coming down to $275,000 overall. While if they hire a contractor on 19,000 per week, it comes out to 304,000 overall.
So hiring an engineer is cheaper, right?
Correct. Yeah.
So we can try it ourselves also. See, if you hire an engineer, this is the cost, right? Suppose we hire an engineer, right? The cost will be 35,000
275
plus
15 into 16
15,000
into 16 weeks.
I'll leave it here, right? If there is a contractor, right?
Then it's 19 into
19,000 into 16.
Yeah, don't multiply, right? Into 16. You don't need to multiply. You can simply look at this. See, if you compare this, can I write 19,000 as 15,000 plus 4,000? Into 16, right? Which is equal to 64,000 plus 15,000 into 16. Is that okay? Is that okay or not?
Yes.
Now, obviously, contractor is expensive, right? So the answer is C, Charlie, right?
Yes.
So is that okay? Now, can we go to the next question? I'm leaving 6th and 7th question, right? They're outdated questions on the processes, not needed. 8th is an important question, right? So 8th, try 8th. You have been contracted by an industrial design firm to manage its contracting. Your client asks you to take over negotiations for an important contract to design a new remote control lighting system. You have narrowed it down to one seller, and now you are working with the legal department at the buyer to negotiate the terms of the contract. Which of the following best describe your goal? So what should be the answer of 8th, guys?
It's B.
What did you answer, Shailja?
B.
B, bravo, right? You want
Bravo.
to get a fair deal for both. So are we all agreeing to B, bravo?
Yes.
Right. So if anyone thinks differently, please let me know. Now, this is another numerical. Can you try it? 9th one. Simple question, right? Try it yourself.
Charlie.
So I think, yes, it should be Charlie, right? So are you all getting Charlie as a number?
Yes, Pankaj, Charlie.
Charlie, right? Does anyone want me to do it here? Or you're okay with Charlie? Let's quickly do it.
Okay.
Right. Now, see, you have been contracted by a construction company to manage its contracting. It has a choice of either buying an excavator or renting it. To buy, it will cost, you have to pay how much? 105. You have to pay this much to buy. The price to rent the excavator is 5,000 per month with one-time service charge of 2,000. What is the minimum number of months needed to use excavator in order for make it sense to buy rather than renting it, right?
Pankaj, it should be 20, right? It's
20
given
point
20.
something. But I think it should be 20. Can you try this? This is 5,000 into X, right? So plus, now this will be the equation or not?
Yes.
right? Or you can take M, months, right? The answer is months, so M, right? Let's take M as a variable here, plus 2000. Will this be the equation? Aditya, ये equation है आपकी?
हाँ सर यही है, लेकिन मेरे को लग रहा था कि 21 की जगह इट शुड बी 20, क्योंकि 21 कैन नॉट बी मिनिमम वन, 21 पर तो दे शुड एक्चुअली सबलेट इट, 20 पे दे शुड बाय इट. क्वेश्चन का इशू लग रहा है मेरे को थोड़ा सा.
हाँ ठीक है, 21 is okay, but see 20 point
Okay.
something are. If you calculate this, you know, it will be 103.
21 ही है.
Divided by sorry, 3 zeros will
5,000.
cancel.
5,000.
5 2s are 10. Yeah, it's
Five,
something. This is equal to M. So I think 21 is the answer, right?
Okay.
Pankaj, how come this 103?
See, if you subtract this 2000 from 105, you know, your I'm okay, 0 3 0 से 3 0.
Okay, sorry.
Now, see, again, you know, whether it should be 20 months, 20 months, it depends on the approach also, right? People generally, you know, many people, and, you know, it's wise also, right? Instead of spending upfront this much amount, it is easy for people to spend 5,000 a month, right? See, till today, you know, I have some friends, I have some known people who prefer to live on rent rather than buying a house, right? They prefer to live in posh societies, right? On rent rather than buying the houses, right? They feel that, you know, their money will be blocked, and, you know, they live a king size kind of a life in big, you know, swanky flats, right, on rent rather than buying. So it depends on your approach also. Which of the following contract has most risk for the buyers?
DNM? Yeah.
So TNM, right?
Yes.
So, now you are managing a project that is difficult to estimate, so you don't have a good idea then when the project will end. Which of the following contract? Now see, in this case, you know, if you don't have good idea when project will end, right? Going fixed price will be unethical or not?
It would be.
It would be, right, because it will be a problem, right? So for a supplier, so TNM, right? And you can make TNM efficient in multiple ways, right? You can there should be TNM.
CPAF and CPIF is what, Pankaj? Can you just repeat? CPAF.
Cost reimbursable, cost plus, you know, cost price plus incentive fee. Right.
Pankaj, there was a question in above which was having a different term which we have not yet covered. Can we touch that, please?
Which one? Yeah, which one?
Above, more above.
Yeah.
More.
Yeah.
Force something that was there. More above.
Okay.
More. These were not this. Make sure the contract has a force majeure clause.
Okay. Okay. See. Now see, you know, even in fact, you know, the force majeure is a French term, right? Now, you know, this is, I don't know why, you know, I took that contract from PMI PMBOK, Project Management Body of Knowledge. You know, PMI removed it. It was there in the earlier version of Project Management Body of Knowledge, and it is there in, you know, it is there in lot of contracts. Now, force majeure is a French term that represents, you know, act of God. Now tell me, you know, can I write a clause in a contract that under unforeseen unforeseen circumstances such as earthquakes or any natural disaster, right? the terms and condition of contract will be null and void. Is it a force measure or not?
Yeah.
Right. So this is force measure. Right.
And this is being proposed by?
No, this is not proposed. This is a part of the contract. It is written, it should be written in the contract actually.
Part of the contract given by the seller.
Agreed between seller and customer, right?
Okay, agreed.
तो कॉन्ट्रैक्ट तो कोई देता नहीं है ना, कॉन्ट्रैक्ट तो कस्टमर ही बनाता है फाइनली. देखो कॉन्ट्रैक्ट कौन अवॉर्ड करता है? कस्टमर, नॉट सेलर. Seller submits proposal on the basis of which customer awards the contract, right? And the terms and conditions.
Isn't this has to go mutual?
देखो बनाएगा customer, the customer makes the contract, but it is agreed between, see, because in the contract both sides, so it's mutual, yes. But who creates the contract? Customer.
Who I agree.
Say that again.
I agree with who part, but I was just concerned about the termination part, that it has to be mutual.
No, see, the contract agreement is mutual. See, again, when contract is awarded to you, the customer signs it and somebody from your company also signs it, right? Both signs it. It's an agreement between the two, right? When you sign a contract as a supplier, you agree on each and every point of the contract, every element of the contract, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Fine. Let's move it.
So where were we? You were talking about this, yeah. This is a simple question. You should be able to answer it. You are looking for a seller to do work for your project. When do you send out an RFP?
Alpha.
After you create the procurement document, but before you select the seller, right? Is that okay? Alpha, right?
Yeah.
Right. And who will send the RFP? Customer or supplier? The customer, right?
Customer.
Now, see this, the answer is plan procurement. You are creating a source selection criteria for a contract. Source selection criteria is created in plan procurement, but not relevant question, right? Such questions will not come. This is an obsolete question, so it just came in, so I discussed, not needed. Now, 14th and 15th are relevant questions. You are managing a project when you and the seller both agree that you need to have the seller add more resources to the project in order to finish on time. The number of resources is written into the contract. What is the best way to proceed?
Charlie.
Perfect.
Charlie, yeah.
Charlie.
Okay, you mean that new CR will be raised, huh?
Yeah, because see, if there is any modification, then new CR should be there. Right? See, incorporation of change request mechanism, right? The change management process in the contract itself brings some level of agility also. Now, the last question, which of the following best explains the difference between an audit and an inspection during control procurement? Audit and inspection during control.
Is it B?
Yes, B, bravo. Yes, absolutely B. So do we all agree B, bravo?
Yes, Pankaj.
Right. Now, so we completed procurement now. Now see, we have to start with MS project now, right? Now, can we take a 15 minutes break before we start MS project, because I will be using different machine now?
Yes, Pankaj. And Pankaj, how long is it going to take now, the session?
See, I'll show you some few things, right? Now, it all depends on how long you can take it forward, right? So,
And question is, Pankaj, I don't think so in today's session we can complete this. MS project,
Say
right?
that again. No, we can't. See, let's do one. Let's do one thing. See what I'll do is, I will show you how to create a product breakdown structure, right? I will show you how to add dependencies like finish to start, start to finish, finish to finish, how to add leads and lag, how to see critical path, right? And how to configure a resource calendar like holidays of people and how the baselining is done, right? And I'll show you, how can you see the cost variance, CPI, SPI, CV, SV, TCPI that you have calculated so far, right? I'll try to wind it up within 1 hour. Is that okay?
Yes.
Right? So can we take a 15 minutes break?
Yes, Pankaj.
So, Pankaj, are we going to cover all these things today itself?
इतना इसके बाद तो बहुत कुछ है यार MS प्रोजेक्ट में इसके अलावा
करेक्ट
नहीं बट वो देखो अगर आपको लगेगा थोड़ा सा भी हैवी हो रहा है मैं रोक दूंगा उसे
करेक्ट
ठीक है ना देखो ये तो हमें करना है बेसिक तो लेट्स सी हाउ इट सी आई डोंट नो हाउ इट गोस राइट ठीक है
if we need we can have these sessions
देखो
in further classes
फायदा
also, next week
सुनो नितिन it will be only beneficial right if whatever I have demonstrated you go back and do it yourself right so देखते हैं कितना करते हैं ठीक है ना and you have to stop me if I am going forward
sure all right
or we are doing more than required right
okay
no worries so let's try to do कितनी capacity बची है how much capacity is left in you guys tell me very frankly do you want a
We
1
can
hour
do
max
an
or
hour
more than that?
session. Yes, we can do an hour
Let's-
session and we'll see if
perfect
we can move forward.
perfect so we can do an hour session right and then rest we can complete next week see because next week we have to practice some clone questions right and along with the clone questions we can do this MS project training also which whatever
So
is
just one request. I mean, if we are starting with one thing, can we try cover it tomorrow sometime? Actually, if half of the session is done today and next week, it becomes too much of gap.
देखो मैं इसलिए कह रहा हूँ see Charu the issue is see what I want is whatever I demonstrate today you should practice
Okay.
see if people don't practice then what happens you lost because see it's a game of navigation more than concept right so at least you should try to create a work breakdown structure you should try to see the Gantt chart critical path right and how to baseline the schedule so right?
Okay.
So let's take a 15 minutes break see we'll start at 12:40 right
Yeah.
perfect
All right. Thank you.
Start creating a work breakdown structure first. So I'm taking one project and let's take a sample project. Can we name our project as test project? Right. Now see, I'm creating a very simple work breakdown structure. Now the structure is, see a project. Now see, before we start, right, we have to configure a start date. Can we configure a start date of the project? See, test project is a project. Can we configure a start date? Yep. Now see, if I say take start date of today, I won't be able to show you any of the parameters like variance and all, right? So can we take past date as a start date, guys? Any past date as a start date, can we take that?
Yes, Pankaj.
So I'm going to project information, right? Now tell me what should I take? Give me any, start date. Which, can I take a month? Can I take, this is June going on. So can I take May as a date? 1st May? Right, 1st May I'm taking as a start date. Now see, from this, you might notice one thing, the start date is configured here in the project information box. So we have configured the start date, right? Now, unless and until constraint, unless and take a
Can you,
work.
sorry to interrupt, Pankaj. Can you please go back? You just started a mission.
Which the previous screen?
Yeah, correct. I can
Yeah,
see.
tell me. Yeah.
So here you mention like that start and date.
सर मेरे को आपको ना वेरिएंस दिखाना है. अगर मैं आज की डेट को स्टार्ट डेट लूंगा तो मुझे मैं स्केड्यूल तो बना दूंगा, लेकिन हाउ शुड आई गिव अ डेमोन्स्ट्रेशन ऑफ कॉस्ट वेरिएंस एंड स्केड्यूल वेरिएंस?
Yeah, I got it. I'm just
For demo, what I have done is I have gone to the project tab, right? In the project tab here, I have configured the start date as a past date, just so that I can give demonstration of some report and some data.
Yeah.
Yes or no?
बाकी मैंने नमकीन मंगाया था.
okay.
Is that okay? Nitin, is that okay?
Yeah, Pankaj.
Now I'm starting with the work breakdown structure. Now can I assume that my project has 3 phases? Phase 1, phase 2, right? The phases should be contained in the test project. The phases should be contained in test project, guys. So shall I make phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 as a child of test project or not? Shall I make phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 the child of this test project?
Yes.
Right. So how to do it? I'll select all of them and indent. Right. Now, if this is indent, this is outdent. See, if I use indent, right, the phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, they have become child of the test project, right? Is that okay? Now, can I assume that phase consists of multiple work packages? Let's focus on phase 1. I'm inserting one. Now I'm, let's say phase 1 consists of multiple work packages, right? Sorry. Let's assume that phase 1 consists of 3 work packages. Right? Now, suppose phase consists of 3 work packages. Right? Now, can I make work packages child of the phase 1?
Pankaj, I have a query. So you've selected that auto schedule. So by selecting auto schedule, it becomes.
See, what has happened? What has happened? In the, I think this is 30. After initially the default feature was auto schedule. After MS Project 13 onwards, they made the feature as a manually scheduled, right?
Okay.
So the benefit of auto scheduled is, whenever I'll put dependencies, right, automatically the dates will be changed. See, I want, a good practice in MS Project is to play only with days, durations, and dependencies. Don't touch the dates. Let Microsoft project calculate date on its own.
Okay.
How it is going to happen, you will see. So I'll make every task as auto, right? I could have configured, right? Good that you have your attention was drawn here. See, in the overall settings tab, I could have made the default feature as every task is automatic, right? Then I don't have to do this. So what is the benefit of doing every task as an automated task? I'll show you. For example, I'm just showing you right now. See, for example, work package 1. Right now they have the days are 1, right? Suppose work package 2 is dependent on work package 1. I'll put a predecessor here 3. The moment I put the predecessor, can you see the dates are shifted?
Yes, yes.
So all these things will happen. So I'll show you, don't worry.
All right.
Right. Now see, I have work packages. Now see, this is a work breakdown structure. I have not decomposed phase 2 and phase 3, assuming that you can do it, right? Now, WP1. Can WP1 be further? See, work packages are eventually decomposed into tasks, activities. Yes or no?
Yes.
Now I'm just putting activity 1, or let's put A1. A1. Right. Now let's make right. Now see, a basic structure is ready, right? Now across activities. Now first of all, can you see, don't focus on WP2, WP3, or I think at least I can just a second. Yeah, focus on WP1 phase 1 and test project right now. Now see, can you see one thing? A1, A2, A3, they are not bold, whereas WP1 phase 1 and test project, they are bold. Can you notice one thing?
Yes, yes, it is.
You don't have to play with bold activities. You have to play only with A1, A2, and A3, right? I'm not using WP2 because I have not decomposed it. So I'm not using it right now. Only play with A1, A2, and A3, right? WP1 phase 1 test project, they should automatically change, right? Now, you might be noticing one thing. Can you see question marks across some duration? Can you see question marks?
Yes, Pankaj.
What does
There.
it indicate? It indicates that you have not put estimates here, right? So suppose activity. Now what I'll do is after decomposing the overall project, right? At an activity level, I'll start putting duration. Right? Let's say my activity A is, I'm just giving you a demo, 3 days. Activity 2 is, let's say 4 days. Just so that you can see Gantt chart properly. 4 days, right? Right, and let's say activity 3 is 3 days. Is that okay?
Yeah. Pankaj, we don't have to change the duration for test project phase 1.
No, it should automatically change.
But then there's
We
question.
have to see. We have to work. See summary tasks. We don't have to work across summary tasks. We should only be playing with these. Right now, see. Suppose I have put A1, A2, and A3. Now tell me, will the relationship between A1, A2 and A3 be only, this is a kind of a by default start to start relationship. Should it be start to start or can it be finish to start also?
It can be both.
It can be both. So is there any dependencies? For example, suppose A2 and A1 bears finish to start.
Guys, what is the difference between both, like start to start and?
अरे सर ये डिस्कस तो किया था हमने इतना सारा स्टार्ट टू स्टार्ट मतलब पैरेलल एक्टिविटीज वी डिस्कस ड्यूरिंग प्रोजेक्ट शेड्यूलिंग. Now I'll re-show it. See one. Now can I click 8 on A2 to see the dependencies? If I have to attach dependencies to A2, there are two ways, but I'll show you one way first. Can I go to information here? Right now in the information, can you see predecessor tab?
Yes.
Now see all that you learned in PMP types, right? For example, suppose the predecessor, right? Predecessor for A2 is A1, right? Let's say A1 is the predecessor. Now, what is the dependency between A1 and A2? See, it can be finish to start. Remember, did we learn these dependencies? Finish to start, start to start, finish to finish, and start to finish?
Yes, Pankaj.
Right. So, and I also told you that, as a good practice, Microsoft project also, prefers this finish to start, right? Can I put finish to start now?
Yes, Pankaj.
The moment I did finish to start relationship, what has happened? What is the change? Can you see some shift in the dates?
Yeah, the dates have changed.
Right? A2, now see, it has put 4. A1 as a predecessor of A2. Can you notice here?
Yes.
And there is a Gantt chart which is also getting updated. Initially, if I remove this 4 as a dependency, right? If I remove this dependency, right, as this 4 as a dependency, right? Let me delete the dependency. Right? If I remove this dependency here, right? The Gantt chart is like this, right? Now, if I add this dependency 4, can you see the shift in the Gantt chart? Yes or no?
Yes, Pankaj.
There's a shift, right? Now, this is A1, A2, A3. Suppose A3 is also dependent on A2 with finish to start relationship, right? Can I put 5 here?
Yes.
When I put 5 here, this will move further forward.
Yes.
Is that okay? So can you see your Gantt chart popping up?
Pankaj, predecessor is the lead and lag time.
No, lead and predecessor is the relationship. Now, can you see the relationship? See,
Relationship I can correlate, but the values which you are entering are of the predecessor as in A2. If A3 has to be started, A2 has to be completed.
yeah, so
This
A2
is what the numbering system which we
no. What is the number of A2? What is the number of A1?
3.
No, 4. Can you see it?
Okay, row number.
Ah.
Okay, your
Right. This is
predecessor.
5.
In predecessor,
five,
you are
this is-
adding the row number of the tool.
Yeah. Now, second thing. Now, see, this relationship is finished to start means the activity 2 will start when activity 1 is finished, right? Activity 3 will start when activity 2 is finished. Now, Charu asked about lead and lag. Now, can we add lead and lag also? Remember what is lead? Is lead and overlap? Can we?
Yes.
Can we start A2 after A1 is 75% complete?
Yes.
This can also happen. Or I can start A2 2 days after A1 is complete. This can also happen. Some lag can also be added. Now, can I show you how to add lag?
Yes.
Again, go to task information. I have shown you predecessor, right? Now, see, there was a company, some learning company, right? They said, we want to have a lead, we want to overlap, but we don't see any field here. See, this is lag. if I put a negative value, is negative lag a lead or not?
Yes.
Right? So if I do 2 days over, if I do -2 days, that means A1 and A4, A2, A1 and A2 will be overlapped by 2 days. Now look at this. Have 4 FS -2 days. Have they been overlapped or not? Can you see overlap in this diagram where I'm pointing, guys?
Yes, now it is
This is
overlapping.
lag, right? Now similarly, you can add delay also, lag also. Now how to add lag? Right? Now if I add 2 days positive here, can you see the lag?
Yes, Pankaj.
Is it shifted or not? So, lead and lag are different. So, Charu, did you understand that lead and lag are totally different?
Yeah, I got it.
Right? And, some activities can be a milestone activity also. So, I'm removing this, I'm simply putting 4 here. Now, if I remove all the lead lags, it is like this, right? Now, can some activities be milestone activities also, guys? Can some activity, like I'm just adding, one milestone here.
Yeah,
Now,
it can be. Yeah, it can.
Right. So can I say submission? Submission for sign off. Can it be, is it a milestone or not? Is it a milestone?
Yes, Pankaj.
Now, what is the duration of a milestone? 0. Is milestone 0 or not?
Yes.
Right. Now, obviously, when if you do a milestone like this submission, actually I did it. I should have done it here, right? Can I remove WP2 and WP3 for the moment? Just
Yeah.
clarity, right?
Yeah,
Because
it
I
will
want
better.
Right now, can I put a dependency of 6 here? Right. So this is my milestone, right? Now, tell me, will it be good to highlight milestone with different colors? Will it be good to highlight milestone with different colors or not?
Yes.
Right? See, because they are indicatives, right? So what I'll do is we'll go to format. Sorry, I'm sorry. We'll go to format. Can you see textiles here?
Yes.
Right. In the textiles, I can, I have a provision. Now, item to change, I'll pick milestones. Right. And in fact, let me highlight let me have a bigger font for milestone. That's a 12. And let's make the color of milestone as, can we make color as green or red? Let's make it green. If I make the color green, can you see the milestone has changed? The color has changed to 0. Now whatever milestone I'll add here, right, it will automatically be green, right? For example, if I add milestone 2, right, I'm adding milestone 2 here. Right, the moment I'll put 0 as a duration, right? Now, can you see change in the color?
So Pankaj, here the milestone is being represented by putting 0 days in the duration.
Yeah, by default, milestone means 0 days.
0 days.
Milestone is a decision point.
Okay.
See, this is a decision point. Can you see this? Milestone?
Yes. Yes.
See, milestones are always a decision point. They are not duration or timeline.
Okay.
Right? And Microsoft project understand this, right?
Okay. So by default, we take milestones as 0 days. So this is how it.
Yeah. And then, see, anybody can do MS project. That's why, the basic PMP knowledge is more important. You should understand what is finish to start to finish, right? Finish to finish, right? You should understand what is a milestone, right? Because that comes from PMP.
Okay.
You should understand how to decompose a work breakdown structure, right?
Yes.
Right. So milestone by basic definition means a decision point. It will always have a duration of 0, and MS project understands this.
Okay.
right?
All right. Yes, Pankaj.
Now, can we do one thing? So I'm just removing last three so that it's more cleaner. Now, can I allocate some resources to these activities? Can I allocate some resources now, guys?
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
so I'm going to resource sheet. Now, let me allocate some resources, right? Right? Some resources have been allocated, right? Now, can I put some billing rate also? Can I put some billing rate also here?
Yes, Pankaj.
Right? I'm putting a billing rate as, let's say, just to make things simple, right? Because this is an hour, I can change it into this is in rupees, right? I can go to admin and I can change into dollar, pounds, whatever I want. Now let's do one thing, just to make the everything simple. Can I put $2,000 per hour as a rate for everyone? Just to make, because I have to show you calculations and we'll make calculations simple, right? Can I use this as a billing rate?
Yes. And Pankaj, can we make it to per day also?
Yes, we can do it. You have to configure it, right? From configuration.
Okay.
There is an overall admin, setting. There is a setting task, right? Now, file option setting, you can do it.
All right.
See, in fact, I don't want to complicate. This is what you have to practice. You can put overtime, plus you can put, I'm showing you material. You can put other type of cost also, like material and all, right? But here I have to show you, so that you can calculate easily. I am making everything simple, right? 2000,
Okay.
2000, right? Is that okay? Is that okay? So can I go back to the Gantt chart? So I have configured resources now. I'm going to the basic Gantt chart, right? Now, can I allocate these resources to activities? Now, suppose to A1, I am allocating Anil, right? To A2. Now, you might be seeing that, as I allocate resources, this is my Gantt chart, right? My Gantt chart is also there, right? Everything is visible. Now, is it okay? Now, see, if I want to see my, critical path, right? If I want to continuously see my critical path, can you see critical here? Can you see critical? My critical path is always visible. See, the moment I say critical, my critical path will be marked red, right? For example, if I add one more activity A4, suppose A4 is a new activity added, right? Let's add two activities, right? Right? I'm adding two more activities here. I'm just keeping the time as. Now, are these activities on the critical path, the new activities? Are the new activities on critical path, guys?
No.
No, Pankaj.
No, no. Now, can I change? Let's see. Let's put some dependencies, right? If I put a dependency of 6 here, right? The moment I put dependency of 6 here, right? Should critical path change? Should the red path change or not?
Yes, it
Tell
should.
me,
It
Yes,
should.
yes, it
Yes,
will.
it should. Yeah,
is it change or not?
right.
Change, right? Now, it can change in multiple ways. Now, can I do one thing? Can I shift critical path? Can I show you how, critical path shifted from this to this? See, let's make A4 as, 20 days. Is it shifted now? See, critical path is the longest path, right? So is it shifted or not? So, at any point of time, see, this is a simple project plan. If you have a very nested project plan with a lot of activities, the moment you say format critical, you can see critical path at any point of time.
And Pankaj, so in case of any change request, do we see a change in critical path as well?
See that again?
So in case if we are seeing any change request which increases a duration.
Very
of,
good.
let's
Very
say,
good question. This is a very good question. See how, first of all, how change requests are added, right?
Yeah.
See, the change request has multiple applications. Now, see, in this, so far, whatever we have done, we are not in a position to take care of change requests, right? See, in fact, with whatever activities we have done, technically, we can't even define what is change request right now. But yes, you are right. A change request can change the critical path, right? Now, before that, before we start talking about change request, should we baseline the critical path or not? Should we baseline or not? Should we baseline the schedule? Because, to identify what is change, the first thing is we have to baseline. Yes or no?
Yes.
The first thing is you have to baseline before you identify what is a change or not. So what we'll do is we will do project. Can you see set baselines here?
Yep.
Right. The moment I'm going to do set baseline, right? Now, in this case, can you see two options, entire project and selected test, selected task?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, I will be doing entire project first. Now, the moment I did entire project, this will be mapped in the background as a benchmark. These targets will be set. Now, we will be measuring the progress of the project with respect to these targets, guys. Right? Now, if a change request comes now, suppose a CR1 comes, how to handle that, right? Now, if a CR1 comes now, you will put CR1 here, right? Now, suppose CR1 is 5 days, Vishal, or you want a bigger CR? Now, suppose CR1 is 5 days, right? And let's say CR1 is dependent on, I can say, let's say this is A5 actually. Now, suppose CR1 is dependent on this A5, right? Let's put 8 here. This is CR1. Now, see what we have to do is, this is the basic PMP fundamental. The moment you add a CR1, what is the next step? Should I update the baseline or not? Should I replan or update the baseline, Vishal?
We need to replan baseline.
Yes, so we'll go there. But now, when I set the baseline, shall I do entire project or selected task?
Selected.
Selected task. So I'll select CR1, right? Project, set baseline, and I'll do selected task, not entire. So this baseline will be appended on the previous baseline. So yeah, let me see whether I have done full or not. Yeah, so I am allowed to. This is guys. This is just now I am doing selected tasks, right? So okay, yes, I am allowed to change it, right? So now what will happen to the original baseline? This will be appended as a baseline, right? So this is a baseline now. Is that okay? Is it fine, guys?
Pankaj, can you explain this again, like how we have changed the baseline?
Okay. See, there is a new change that has come.
Yeah.
Right now, let me remove the baseline first of all. Right now, if the new change has come, tell me, can I add? See, project has been baseline before, and if a new change is there, should I
Yes.
replan or not?
Yes.
I am replanning. So when I have to replan, see, the baseline for task item, from 1 to 9 has been already established. There is a new
Yes.
task. So, I have to append the target for this to the original baseline.
Okay.
Yes, right? I don't need to re-baseline the entire plan now. So what I'll do is I'll select this this is specific to a change request, right? If there's any change request that comes in, I'll select the change request. I'll go to project. I'll go to set baseline, right? Now, instead of selecting entire project, I'll do select task.
Right. So in select task, it will only append this change request of 5 days.
Yes, to the original one. That's it.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Pankaj, baseline means exactly
target. Baseline means target.
Okay.
Baseline means the target against which you are going to measure the progress.
Okay. So when we are saying that this has been appended, so I have a critical path, right, which is, let's say, 20 days long. Right, and then there is this parallel branch which was running earlier for 5 days, and then there is change request for 8 days, right? So now that is for 13 days, but
Yes.
that is running in parallel. So
Yes.
would it be appended in addition to 20 days, or how would it be like?
See, right now it's a simple thing, it's not getting impacted. See, the only thing is, at individual CR level, there can be variance, but it will not impact the overall variance of the project.
Right.
But if the dependency was different, let's say if the dependency was 6, it would have changed the critical path even, right?
Yeah.
If instead of this, I make 7 as a dependency, the critical path would change.
Right. So does it?
The critical path has become this now. See, the CR1 is a part of critical path. It has shifted the critical path forward, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
So does it highlight any sort of, like, does it raise any flag or any risk kind of thing when the things move beyond?
See, you can see there is a, just like you can see when you start putting actuals, you can see all these things, right? The moment I have put critical path, you can see, you can click Slack also, you can put late task also, all those will be visible and highlighted here. Right? For example, the tasks which are slipping also can be shown with respect to baseline. Right? Now you will see all these things when we'll start, putting the actual values, right? Now, can I show you some deviation, some variances?
One second, Pankaj. So as you changed this to 8 and the predecessor, so now it is taking from the task A5, right? And earlier it was from task A4 when it was 7.
So baseline, so my actuals are deviating. It will show it as a variance, not as a, it will show as a variance delay. Because I baseline with the earlier predecessor, right?
Yeah. So
Right?
in the predecessors, so in the predecessors, the number that we're writing, it refers to the row number where the task is mentioned.
Yes. For example, this is actually ID field. Yeah, I don't know why it is not visible here. This is called as ID field. These are all ID fields, right?
Okay.
Right. Now I'm just removing the change request, right? I'm removing it and I'm rebaselining the entire project, right? Because I have to show you many calculations. Right? I'm removing the baseline and I'll add. See, you can at any point of time you can remove the baseline also, right? You can clear the baseline, right? No baseline now, right? Now you can set the baseline here.
And Pankaj, just one more question. So what if we would have added that change request in the entire project? Then how does it affect?
You can do it, but the only thing is, the dependencies will not be visible then if you do it at this level.
Okay.
Try to see, because dependencies can only happen when it is nested. So, make it as nested as possible.
All right.
See, some of the bad practices, I've seen people doing it. Often I have seen people using MS Project as an Excel sheet, right? Now, for example, putting dependency on a black task. Black task has summary task. Don't do it. Don't put dependencies on the black tasks, right?
Okay.
People modifying the dates. See, dates should auto-populate based on whatever you add here. You don't need to add dates, right?
All right.
Right? Are you getting my point?
Yeah.
Now,
And
see.
does it take
suppose
5 days a week, Pankaj? How does it count the days of the week?
5. See, you can change it. By default, the calendar is 5 days, right? By default, calendar is 5 days. But if required, you can change it also. You can change the standard calendar, because see, for people, even my client side, for example, some of the clients at some point of time was only 2 Saturdays off.
Correct. Yeah.
Right. So this is a basic calendar is an American calendar, 5 days a week. Now, in some cases, for example, if you work for a UAE client or a Saudi client, they have Sundays as a working days, right? Their holidays their weekends are Friday and Saturday. So again, you have to modify the standard calendar. You can modify it, right? Now, for example, tell me, should you take planned holidays of resources into consideration or not?
Yes.
Yes.
Right? For example,
Yes.
if suppose Anil is on leave, right, on Monday and Tuesday, can this task be started on 5th? First,
Yeah.
this activity is starting on
First.
what date? 1st of May.
Yeah.
If let's say Anil is right on planned leaves on Monday and Tuesday, right? 1st and 2nd May, right? Then it should be starting on 4th or not, right? So you should be before baseline. Again, I'm clearing the baseline because all these activities should be done before the baselining. So if somebody is not available, right, I'm removing the baseline, right? So you should be configuring the holidays, the vacation, or everything before you baseline it, right? For example, I can go to project, right? Now in the project, can you see change working time?
Yeah.
Yes.
From here, you can update the calendar. You can create entirely new calendar, right? Or you can also you can configure holidays also. See, I'm not creating a new calendar. You can try it yourself. It's easy to do, right? Now, the standard project calendar, right? Anil is on planned leaves, right? So I'm selecting Anil, right? Now, Anil is on leave on 1st of May, right? And 2nd of May. Can I select one here, right? Now, Anil, this is a non-working time for Anil, right? 1 and 2. It's 1, right? These are planned leaves, right? Anil is on vacation from 1/5 to, can I say 2/5? Right? So, can I say okay? Now, when I say okay, can you see something that it has shifted to Wednesday?
Yeah.
Right? So, you should, before you do any kind of, right, before you do any kind of baseline, all these things should be configured. Is that okay?
So Pankaj, like in generally in the projects, we have this holiday and leave planning calendar that is
Yes.
shared with the
So
client,
holidays
right?
are also configured. For example, there is Dashera holiday. there is any
Yeah.
national holiday, right?
So we have a separate sheet for that. Let's say Excel sheet or something like that, right?
So see again, see that's okay. So you can configure MS Project, because see in MS Project the whole schedule can be changed or modified based on
Yeah,
that.
so I was asking the same thing. Can we import the same file rather than doing the duplicate effort? Is
देखो
it?
यहाँ पे नहीं हो पाएगा,
Okay.
import नहीं हो पाएगा इस field में.
Okay.
There are multiple things you can do as an import or export, right? But this will not be possible.
Okay.
You mean
Around the calendar.
in MS Project, we don't have this possibility to upload these files.
See, there is an online version of MS Project also there now. But again, the only problem is, I can't show every feature there. There are a lot of features which are not there. But at least you can see the Gantt chart, right? So we have seen how critical path becomes visible, how the holiday days are captured, right? How dependencies are set between multiple activities, right? Now, can we track some progress against the plan? Can we track progress against the plan or not?
Yeah.
Right. Now, see, to track progress against the plan, actual completion, is it must or not? Sir, percentage actual completion, without
Yes.
percentage actual completion, can you track the progress?
No.
No. Now, what is actual percentage complete called as?
Earned value.
Earned value. So without earned value, you can't do anything, right? So can I add another column? Because earned value column is not the basic column, so it is not visible. Let me add that column, right? I'm inserting a column, percentage complete. This is nothing but earned value, right? This is earned value. Suppose I say, right? Suppose, I put these dates. Suppose this is 50% complete, right? This is also, let's say 50% complete. I have not put the status date, so it will take today's date, right? And we'll show a lot of variances here. Or let's put it, let's make it 100%, right? Let's make it 50%. I have put earned value. Now, based on that, we calculated cost variance, schedule variance, CPI, SPI. You want to see the data? Guys, you want to see the data?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? So we can see everything. We can see everything here. Tables, putting more tables, right? Can I say earned value cost indicators? Right? The moment I say, no, sorry, first I'll say earned value schedule indicators, right? Now, the moment I say schedule indicators, right, it will show me everything. It will calculate everything for me, right? A1, A2, A3. Now, everything is zero. Why everything is zero? Because, I think I didn't baseline it, right? I didn't baseline it. Did I baseline it?
No, you removed that
I
baseline.
removed it. Because, without baseline, how can it measure, right? So I am again removing this. I'm going to basic Gantt chart. I just want to go to default one, right? Right. I'm just removing, percentage complete once again. Right. I'm just removing it for the time being. Right. Zero, yes. I'll do a baseline here now. Right. This is now I'll add this. Right? Is that okay?
Selected whole project.
Because see, I didn't baseline. I removed कर दी थी सारी baseline actually. इसलिए पहली बार कर रहे हैं हम baseline. See, without baseline, you won't be able to see variance. See, if it was updating the baseline, see, if the baseline was there, it would have shown me as a pop-up. So no baseline was there. Now this is the first time I'm creating baseline for the entire project, right? Because I cleared the baseline while showing you the how to configure calendar, right? Is that okay? Is that fine, guys?
Yeah.
Okay, now,
So Pankaj, just one thing. So when we are setting the baseline, so then those dates will not deviate. Is this the purpose or the?
yes, that that baseline is a target established in the backend.
Okay.
Uske baad, you know, whatever we modify will become actual, and it will be compared with that benchmark of that data.
Okay, so whether we are overachieving, delaying, like how the project is progressing.
You can modify whatever you want to modify here in terms of duration and days, but that will be saved as a baseline. So it will be, this is actual, it will be compared with the baseline.
Okay.
Right.
So now further modifications will show the changes in the project baseline, how the
performance. Now any
performance
changes
basically, right?
So can we go to the tables? Sorry. Now, if I go here, right, if I go to more tables, right, if I see earned value schedule indicators, if I apply, now can you see a lot of negative variance? Can you see SPI, CPI, SV, and earned value?
Yes.
Right. Now, why you are seeing a lot of negative indicators? Because you see, I have not put. See, it is showing my status date as today's date. If my status date is today's date, that means a lot of variance has happened by today. Even the project, I started project in past in May, and by today it should have been completed, right? So it is showing a lot of negative variance, right? Only one task, which is A1, which is 100% complete, is 0. Others are all under variance, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Right.
And where did we mention this planned value, the amount?
See, remember we configured the costs. See, for A1, who is working on A1? Anil. And what is Anil's per day salary?
Okay.
1,000 rupees per
Right.
hour.
Yeah. So based on that, we got this figure.
Okay.
Right. Now, if I look at cost variance, will cost variance be 0 now or not? I'm going to the default view. Now, see, if I look at cost variance now, have I changed any cost from the plan? The resource cost remains same, everything remains same.
Yes.
I have not changed duration. So ideally, when I go to see the cost variance data, will it be 0? Now let's see. Let's see the cost tables. Is it all 0 or not? Now, do you want to see changes in this data?
Yes.
Now, see, tell me, if I do one thing, if I go to resource sheet, and you know, this was the plan. The plan was that I'll have Anil at $2,000 per hour.
Yes.
If I change Anil's cost as 4,000, let's say. Can I change it to 4,000? Now, if I do this, will there be any cost variance or not?
Yes.
Because I planned that I will have Anil at 2,000, but now I'll have Anil at 4,000, right? Now, let me go to the table. Let me save it first, right? Save it. So if I go to the table now, we have to go via that default table. Now, can you see a negative cost variance for Anil? Anil was allocated to activity 1. Can I? Because I
A1, yes.
right? And the CPI has become 0.5. 0.5
Hmm.
means 50% over budget, right? And you might be
Right.
noticing one thing, at the same time, it is calculating everything, even the forecast parameter for me, the BAC, the EAC, the VAC, and the TCPI also,
Right.
right? So, whatever actually see, the thing is, for better understanding of the concept, whatever theory we have gone through in PMP, that is more important. See, this is only navigation, anybody can do it.
Right.
PMP, see, whatever knowledge you have learned from PMP, it actually helps you to use this tool properly, right? And all of this data can be exported in an Excel sheet, right? There's an export feature here, right? You can export all the data to Excel, right? If you want to share any of the report, right? Now, see, rather than telling you anything more, right? I would like to stop here, right? What I expect is, you should practice MS Project first. You should practice whatever I have told you during the week. Then, right, we can do further analysis on it. Anil, is that okay? Dekho, Anil, if you are able to understand the baseline part, if you are able to understand the critical path part, how to set up the milestone, how to set up the calendars, right? How to track the progress of the project, how to handle change requests. First, let's have a revision of this, right? Practice it yourself, then we'll take it for further, right? Is that fine?
Yes, Pankaj.
So shall we wrap up the session here, guys?
Yeah.
Yes.
Perfect.
Thank you.
And see, everything you have learned in PMP is practically possible here, right?
Yeah. But then
So,
for Pankaj, complex projects like this is we just done WP1. But
yeah.
then where there are
No,
multiple.
that will be more easier now. See, because at any point of time, it will show you slack, delays, everything, right? It will show you the entire, see, because complex projects will have complex dependencies. And by
Right.
putting, by Gantt chart, the Gantt chart, which is visible on the right side, right? It makes things easier for you to visualize,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So any kind of, see, you make it as much complicated as possible, but at any point of time, you go to format, right? You put critical task, you put slack, you put lag task, right? Everything will be visible to you on the Gantt,
Yes.
right? So it's a very handy tool, provided you use it properly.
Okay.
Right. So shall we wrap up here?
Yes, Pankaj.
Right. So let's wrap up the training here.
Yeah, just to remind, you need to send the template I shared with
Yeah. Sorry, I'll send
email
it.
ID.
I'll send it. I'll send it. Right.
All templates you can send.
Right. Perfect.
Thank you. Thanks.
Just a second.
All right.
See, you see Slack, right? Late task. See, the moment I click late task, all these late tasks are visible.
Right.
So, everything it makes it easier for you to understand a complex plan. Right. Perfect, guys. And I'll send you the templates on it. No worries.
Okay. Thank you,
Thank you.
Pankaj. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Bye.